All right, let's do it. Cool. Where can we see the comments and stuff? Where can we see the comments? Guess I'll just go to the test stream. Got it. Yo, Zet. What's happening? Max. What's up? Can you guys hear me? Yo, Zet. Oh, shit. Sweet. All right. So Troy and I thought that we were gonna do something kind of fun today. So Troy, in case you guys didn't know, like he is the CEO of CourseCareers. So Troy, welcome on the channel. Yeah, you've been on the channel before, so welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Shane. I'm excited to be here and do this.
Absolutely. So yeah, Troy is the CEO of CourseCareers. He's doing awesome stuff, helping people get high-paying, in-demand jobs without necessarily needing a college degree or previous experience. So he's killing it with that. Right now, he's offering 2 different careers. We're doing the tech sales and then also information technology help desk. So Troy's killing it when it comes to that. And we thought we'd jump on and just roast some people's career plans. Because one thing we noticed is a lot of people have really bad career plans. So we figured we would, voluntarily, like you have to voluntarily let us roast you, essentially. So you can hop on the stream. I think what we're going to do is get people on Skype. But yeah, I think we'll probably just answer a few questions here for a little bit. And then we'll get people on the stream, get people on Skype, and maybe try to roast some people's career plans.
Yeah, sounds good with me.
Have you asked ChatGPT about careers yet? No, I'll have to consult GPT about these careers. Hopefully they can come out with like GPT-4 here pretty soon. That would be pretty sick. What's up, Voyager? What's up, David? How's it going, man? All right. So, do we have like a thumbnail for the stream, Ken? Do we have like a thumbnail for the stream? I think you're supposed to set the thumbnail right away for the stream. Yeah. Roasting section, will there be a number available to all, or will it be via something else? So the way we figured it out for Quan is we were trying to like a bunch of different ways, but just for privacy purposes, I think I'll probably have you email me your Skype ID, and then I'll add you on Skype, and we will let you join the stream in that way, just for privacy purposes. We're not going to do that quite yet, though. We're probably going to talk here in a little bit. Will the stream be in the archives? I would assume so. Yeah. Is Shane in danger of getting replaced by an AI career counselor? No, I don't think so, man. I'm not worried about that. So does anybody want to get roasted? Their career plans? Do we have any volunteers yet? Are you seeing the chat, Troy?
Yeah, I can see it.
You can answer some questions too if you want.
Yeah. Anyone have any questions for me? I know a few things about starting careers without a degree or experience, especially in the technology space.
That's what's up. Would you rather someone attend a good STEM school for MIS or a good business school for MIS? UA or UW? What's your goal, Formula Meme? What's the career you're trying to get into? We'll be nice, Hala. We'll be nice. Don't worry. We're not gonna roast you too bad. If you want to.
It's awesome, Joseph.
Yeah, Joseph just started with CourseCareers. Yeah, actually, we should. If someone can drop the link to CourseCareers in the chat, in case people want to check it out. Troy, the CEO of CourseCareers, was nice enough to come on with us today. So, if someone wants to drop that link in the chat, Paulo or David, if you can do that.
Thanks. Sales, would you recommend going to a startup with less formal training, but more creative control of large corporate established processes? So to answer your question about do you want to go to a startup versus a large company, it really just depends on your personal aspirations. If you want to start your own business, then going into a startup is going to give you a lot of really good foundational skills and do that. But going into a larger company, they're probably going to have better training and maybe even a better career path too, because they already have that all laid out and have the positions available for it. So startup is more risky, but there could be a larger upside there, and a larger company is more of a safe bet.
I like that answer. Yeah. And the larger companies, like, you get spoiled and like you get all these like free food and nap time and all this crazy stuff in the tech industry.
I mean, everyone, well, at least a couple of months ago, like, it was really crazy. I mean, so hard to hire anyone. So it's like everyone's trying to throw every single benefit. At least now it's getting a little bit more reasonable for from the employer side to be able to hire people, but it's still like people who have experience in tech, it's competitive to hire. I mean, you have to throw every benefit you can at them, pay them a ton of money. So it's pretty crazy. We actually just hired a 21-year-old yesterday as a software engineer, a senior software engineer, actually. He has 2 years of experience at a big tech company, and we're paying him 6 figures. So
that's what's up. Okay, sweet. So are you still hiring for a software dev, Troy? Because I did kind of put the word out there to a few different people.
Yeah, we're still interviewing people. So we're hoping to keep growing and keep hiring. And we just hired a UI UX person too. So hopefully the design of CourseCareers is going to get a bit better.
Sweet. That's what's up. All right. Let's look at these questions a little bit. Question, Paulo, if I was to do tech sales, would it be helpful if I had some background in tech, or it doesn't matter at all? Of course it would be helpful, but no, you do not need a background in tech. We have helped people, like Troy's killing it, absolutely. Like, we have some of the craziest stories on my channel. We help people get jobs in like a month and a half. She was a stay-at-home mom, no degree. She'd bounced around to like different colleges and had like a pretty bad experience at a lot of the colleges. And she was able to land a job in a month and a half over 6 figures, that's like a crazy story. Got other stories of people who were able to land a job in 2 weeks. So yeah, definitely don't need a background in tech.
Yeah, do not need any previous experience or a degree, and that's really what I preach and why I started this business. So you can go right into technology sales out of high school, to answer your question, Pizza Steve.
Yeah, and Troy does have a really good book. I have skimmed it. I still need to read the entire book, but it's called The Lean Career, I believe, right? The Lean Career?
Yeah, that's it.
And it's an awesome book. So you can definitely check that out.
Yeah, if you're not sure if you should go to college or which career to pursue, then the Lean Career is going to give you a pretty clear path on if you should go to college or if you could potentially start the career without college. And the benefits of starting a career without college is it's a 4-year head start at the minimum, along with not having any debt. So it could be a very substantial figure. On average, we estimate that the 18-year-olds that go through CourseCareers is about a $500,000 head start on average.
Yeah, when you calculate the opportunity cost, it gets crazy. But when you think about it from an opportunity cost perspective, like, never mind you're saving like $80,000 plus on college, 40,000 plus in debt that the average person goes. You're also saving 5.1 years of your life on average. The average person who gets a college degree spends 5.1 years. And when you calculate the opportunity cost, I mean, it's just absolutely massive. And this is pretty much the future, because all of the super high demand jobs out there, or not all of them, but most of the super high demand jobs out there, you can't learn the skills in college. Like, you just can't. Colleges, if you understand how the college system is set up, it takes so long for them to try to adapt. I mean, if you just look at digital marketing, for instance, the stuff they're teaching in colleges right now is stuff that maybe would have worked like 10 years ago. If they're really up to date, maybe it's stuff that worked 5 years ago. But if you understand digital marketing, you'll know that what worked 5 years ago does not work now. Like, Facebook ads that worked 5 years ago, they don't work anymore. So you have to stay up to date in digital marketing, and there's just literally no way that colleges can stay up to date. It's just, they're too old. The way they're structured, it's like a giant dinosaur whose head doesn't know what its tail is doing. They can't adapt. They can't pivot and shift fast enough to adapt to these new, highly in-demand careers. And that's why you are seeing all these services pop up, like CourseCareers, for instance, with Troy, that are preparing people for these super high-demand careers in a much, much faster, a more affordable, and more efficient way than traditional education. It looks like we got a EGP sent $50, and he asked, "I want to be an entrepreneur. Is college worth it?" So EGP, that is, of course, a very general and broad question, but I know Troy's opinion on this is going to be definitely not. My opinion on this is usually not. It's usually not worth it. If you want to go into finance and you want to become like a private equity, like open your own hedge fund, something like that, yes, it can help you to go to an elite finance school. You're going to get connections to people. It's going to help you, if you go to an Ivy League school. But with that being said, are there ways of getting into finance, even a career like finance where you do have kind of a lot of gatekeeping without going to college? Yes, there is. There are ways of getting into that. There's like mini VCs. That's micro VCs. That's a thing that's really popping off right now. There are a lot of ways to get into it. But I would say with most types of entrepreneurship, you do not need to go to college. But Troy, I'll let you answer that question.
Yeah, and I'd actually agree with you. It depends. If you want to become an extremely successful entrepreneur, you need a very specialized skill set. Because at the end of the day, what is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is solving problems. And we live in a very complex economy. So that means the problems are very complex. So the only people who could actually become entrepreneurs are people who understand that problem in and out better than anyone else in the world. So in my case, I understood the problem of not being able to go to college to start a career better than anyone else in the world. And that's why I was able to start CourseCareers. So, I mean, you really just have to figure out a problem and then become an absolute expert on it. And you don't need to go to college to do that. But there are some careers like finance where it is very difficult to break in without having the right credentials.
Yeah, so the answer, EGP, really at the end of the day, this is the answer to everything in life. It depends. But if you want like a short answer, probably not. Probably not. You probably do not need to go to college. And like, kind of like Troy said, you need a very specialized skill set to solve problems that nobody else has solved. And that's what entrepreneurship is all about. Some people think that entrepreneurship is like doing something cool, like making a product like cooler or something. And typically that's not what entrepreneurship is about. Entrepreneurship is all about practical problem solving. You go out in the world, you find a problem that a ton of people have, and then you figure out what basically like what those people have in common, and that's called your niche, your target demographic, right? And then you figure out how to solve those people's problems, and then you market the solution to them, right? That is basically entrepreneurship in a nutshell. Entrepreneurship is not about making something cool or anything like that. It's about solving problems, like practical problems that real people have in the real world. And typically it's a very painful problem as well that you're solving. So in Troy's case, I mean, we're like, Troy and I are both extremely passionate about solving the problem of like education and careers. Everybody hates their career right now. This is why we have like quiet quitting. We've got the Great Resignation, all these things that you hear about in the news. And then of course, we all know in the US, the problems with college. We've got insane amounts of student debt. I believe it just hit $2 trillion, I'm pretty sure. So it's over $2 trillion in student loan debt right now. And the value of college has been going down since the 70s, and the cost of college has been going up since then, right? So logically speaking, even if maybe you kind of disagree with Troy, like, okay, college is worth it sometimes, like you have to agree that if the value of college is steadily going down and the cost of college is steadily going up, at some point, those two lines have to intersect at some point. Now you can argue like they already intersected. Some people think they intersected like 20 years ago. Some people think they're going to intersect 5 years in the future, but they have to intersect. It's impossible if that trend continues for them to not reach a tipping point. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, EGP. If you have any follow-up questions, go ahead and ask them, and we'll be happy to help you. All right. Let's try to get caught up here. All right, so Max PC says, I am 29 years old. I started Master OS IT to become a software engineer. Am I late or too old to do so? If not, what is the shorter hard skills to do that become SE? You're definitely not too late to do that, Max. Absolutely not. And if you find that learning the really complicated software engineering stuff, like some of the back-end stuff is too much for you, that's fine, because there's a ton of other career choices that are not as complicated, but they require you to know like some of the, front-end web dev stuff, but they're not nearly as complicated when it comes to the back-end stuff. So the answer is absolutely not. You're definitely not too old. I mean, you're definitely on the right track there, Max. Do you have anything to add to that, Troy?
I mean, 29 is not too old to switch careers, so definitely don't let that stand in your way. And I think it's crazy whenever even someone thinks like even 30s or 40s is too old. I mean, as long as in our economy nowadays, as long as you have the skill set and you're able to do the job, companies could care less about how old you are. I mean, at the end of the day, they just need someone who can produce a return on investment, which means doing the job they're hiring for.
Yeah, and I mean, I just interviewed a 59-year-old the other day. I think that interview just went up a little bit ago, like a few weeks ago. So a 59-year-old was able to get a job, so and he was just switching careers, and he literally did it like in his pastime. He was just like, oh, this is interesting. I'd like to kind of do this almost like for fun. He's already done with his careers. I think he was like an ops manager during his career, and he's just like, yeah, I like technology. And he just decided to switch over, like learn some marketing stuff and switch over. So absolutely not. 29 is not too old. A career. EGP asked, we're going to prioritize the super chats, but EGP, yeah, The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco is probably the best book ever written on if you want to become an entrepreneur. That's probably the best book ever written, likely. I would also recommend The 4-Hour Workweek. That's another really good one. And then now one thing I will say is like Troy's a startup guy. I don't like startups personally. I'm not, to me, that's too risky. I don't like startups. I'm more of a personal brand, like build your blog, build your personal brand, build your social media type guy. For me, I'm very risk averse. So I don't like taking chances like starting a startup or anything. But Troy, obviously, you know, he's the big time CEO guy. So like, if you want to talk about startups, you want to ask Troy. He knows his stuff when it comes to startups.
Yeah, I mean, the more risk you take, the more opportunity there is. Because I mean, who wants to risk everything? So, but at the end of the day, a lot of people do lose a lot of money in startups, and we're seeing that right now in today's market.
Yeah, startup to me that's just too much risk, man. Like, cause for me, like I don't ever want to become a billionaire or anything. Like in a startup, you can literally become a
Yeah.
billionaire, right? That's not something that I want. You know, I'm happy making way less than $1 billion. So it's not even something I would aim for. But what are some other good books that you like, Troy? I like Blue Ocean Strategy. Blue Ocean Strategy is a great book if you for business. Just positioning yourself in a niche in a particular way that basically makes it to where you essentially don't have any competition. That's what Blue Ocean Strategy is all about. And do you have any recommendations for business books, Troy?
Yeah, I'd agree with you on Blue Ocean Strategy. I think if you're looking to start a business, 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel
Yeah.
is also a good book. Um, what else? I also liked following Y Combinator on YouTube. So especially if you want to start a tech company, I mean, they've pretty much built like every tech company with like Uber. I think they were an Airbnb. Basically every tech company you could think of. They had their hands in the cookie jar and helped them build it, and they have a very large YouTube presence.
Yeah, those are some super solid advice. I would say businesses that have the highest chance of success, but they have a very low upside, would be like trade businesses. Anything that's like physical, like a trade business, very high chance of success, and but it also has low upside. But there are some exceptions. So, for instance, there's people who've become billionaires from the storage business. And that type of business, typically it has like above 50% chance of success, sometimes even 80-90% chance if you look at the stats. So those types of businesses, very high chance of success, but the upside is low, and it requires it typically is going to require like your physical work, and it's hard to scale. So those are businesses, depends on how risk averse you are. I personally like anything that has to do with social media, personal brand, creating a blog, getting some kind of presence on social media. To me that's like a sweet spot in terms of risk versus reward for me personally.
Yeah, I think social media, like that's, especially if you understand it, that's where you should be playing right now. There's a lot of money to be made. Other types of businesses, like service-based businesses, you can start making money immediately with no huge capital investment. So that's relatively low risk. And then startups vary depending on how much capital you need to invest initially to be able to start making money. Like pharmaceutical companies, or like really hard engineering companies. You have to invest millions, if not tens or hundreds of millions of dollars before you could ever see any money back. Extremely risky.
Agreed. We had another super chat, which I missed somehow. Thanks guys. I'm 14 right now. I've been learning for a few years now, since I was like 12. My great uncle was the CEO of the National Bank of Kuwait. That's awesome. I mean, if you're thinking about this at 14 years old, you are on the right track. Kind of like I was talking about with the social media brand thing, like Mr. Beast just got offered $1 billion for his brand, and he's just making YouTube videos, right? Like he just got really good at making YouTube videos. and he wisely turned that down, a $1 billion offer. So there's just a massive amount of opportunity when it comes to creating a personal brand. People tend to not trust businesses as much because, I mean, can you really blame them? There's like a lot of sketchy stuff that big businesses do. And they tend to just trust individual people. Like they tend to trust other people. So they don't really want to buy stuff from businesses. They want to buy stuff from other people, kind of like referrals, essentially. So that's kind of the power of a personal brand. And of course, with great power comes great responsibility. Make sure you promote good stuff. I mean, we kind of saw what happened with FTX, the fallout from that. So make sure you promote good stuff, like vet the stuff that you promote. But yeah, personal brand is extremely powerful. Whether you want to do a startup or whether you want to do more of a like a business that has a higher chance of success, you can't go wrong making a personal brand. Like it's super powerful.
And I will say for a startup too, the contrary to normal belief, the crazier it seems and the larger the idea, the easier it is to get funding, because the way venture capital works is they do a risk reward calculation. So they say, okay, what's the upside and what are all the different percent chances of all the different outcomes. So even there's just a 1% chance this becomes a $100 billion company, that's enough to justify a multi-million-dollar investment when it's just an idea.
Yeah. Anything startup related, I defer to Troy. I'm not a startup guy, man. I'm like build my business slowly and predictably type guy. That's what I like. Let's see.
Lockbeth had a question for me. Is it hard to get an SDR job because it doesn't require much experience, or is the demand high enough to where that's not something to worry about? So I would say demand is definitely high enough where you don't have to worry about not landing a position, as long as you acquire the skills through like a CourseCareers to actually do the job. You're going to stand out compared to every other applicant, because this is what's happening right now with employers. And I mean, I talk with employers every day, my sales team does, so I'm really in the loop. Basically, there's lots of people applying to these positions, especially fully remote positions. You'll probably see like 200 plus applicants within just the first week. And now what this company has to do, their recruiting team looks at 200 applicants and they're crying, because it's like, what am I going to do with these people? They're all entry level. None of their resumes have previous sales development experience on it, right? So how do you even identify qualified people? You're pretty much just guessing who to interview. And then you say interview 20 people. Out of the 20 people that you just randomly interviewed, probably not a single one understands what the job of a sales development rep is. And you're just shaking your head because you just wish there was someone who could actually do this job. So when you interview a CourseCareers student, it's like a night and day difference. So our best students that finish CourseCareers, they're often maintaining about a 50% average offer rate, which means they only have to interview with 2 companies to get an offer, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons like I kind of partnered up with Troy and I promote CourseCareers, is like the results I was seeing him get were like just so far above anything that I'd ever seen before. And I've like looked at a lot of stuff in this industry. Obviously, I like study a lot of stuff in this industry. So yeah, I mean, the trick is, guys, like at the end of the day, like if I can summarize this, my entire channel in one sentence, is learn valuable skills. Okay? Because if you learn a valuable skill, everything else downstream from that gets better. You're not going to be competing with a ton of people to get a job. Companies are going to be competing for you if you have a valuable skill. They're going to treat you better. They're going to pay you better. You're going to get better benefits. The workplace is going to be less toxic because you are valuable, and they know that they have to keep like a really good work environment. That's why these companies in tech treat their employees so well, because they know that they have to keep like a good work environment that these employees are going to want to be at. Even people who have kind of like lower level jobs in tech tend to get paid better because they want everyone at their company to be happy, so that it's just a really nice work culture to work at. So if I can summarize like my entire channel in one sentence is learn valuable skills. If you learn a valuable skill set, everything else in your life is just going to get so much easier. And you're also going to have so many options and so much flexibility as well. Because you might like want to switch into something else later on down the line. And if you have a valuable skill set, it's so much easier to do that. So Hala Smith, she's asking UX, UI, or digital marketing is a better career path. Both of those are really good, Hala. In my experience, it's a little easier to get into digital marketing versus UX, UI, but both of those are really good.
Yep.
Dude, yep. All right, I'm gonna try to get through these. By the way, guys, everybody on Skype, if you want to get on the stream, you are agreeing to be roasted. I'm just gonna let you know that because we're gonna roast you. Like, we're not gonna be mean. We're not gonna like cuss at you or anything. But I'm just letting you know that because some people are messaging me on Skype, you are agreeing to be roasted. This is a roast session. This isn't like a Q&A or anything like that. So just so you guys are aware, can you maybe type that to him? The ones that messaged me on Skype. Can you type that to them real quick? Yeah. So go ahead and type that. Yeah, to him.
Oh yeah. Are these SDR jobs flexible on time? Usually they're going to be full time, but the hours you work can be pretty flexible. Every once in a while, you might find a part-time position. And another question, should I do data analytics or software engineering? Really depends on your personality and interests. I mean, both are really great careers. I was telling Shane earlier, we just hired someone who's 21 years old. We hired them for a senior software engineering position here at CourseCareers, and we're paying them over 6 figures because they started learning software engineering on their own through courses at 18 years old. By age 19, started as a junior engineer at a large tech company, got 2 years of work experience, and now they're a senior engineer by 21. So it's pretty magical what you can do just by acquiring some valuable skills. And this person lives in Ohio, by the way, so location doesn't even matter anymore for these tech positions.
And that's kind of another thing that a lot of people don't even talk about is location independence. I mean, you can work for a company that pays like San Francisco money, and then you can live in like the Midwest, which I don't know if you guys are familiar, but I mean, it's very cheap to live in the Midwest, like very affordable. You can even do what I'm doing and travel internationally where it's even more affordable. I mean, you can live like an absolute king if you know, in the Philippines, Thailand, places in like Eastern Europe, you can live like a king for like $1,500 a month, right? So if you're making American money or Canadian money, and then, you know, your cost of living is $1,500 a month, you can kind of do the math there. And that's how you're able to just, you know, retire really early. That's how you're able to save up money and just have flexibility. Just take back control over your financial life and in turn your life as a whole. So this is kind of like a cheat code that a lot of people are taking advantage of. And I know some people are like, oh, well, I don't want to be away from my family. Well, you could just do it for a few years, save up some money, and then move back to the States. Again, you have options, which is great.
I mean, how far would $100,000 a year take you in Thailand or the Philippines, Shane?
Oh my gosh. Just, I mean, you probably wouldn't be able to spend all the money. Like, I don't know, me personally, like, I wouldn't even be able to spend it. Like, you go out every single day, eat at a super nice restaurant, just do go to the zoo, do whatever you want, pay for all the attractions that Thailand has to offer. Yeah, it's like you couldn't even spend it. Like it would be crazy.
And one of these roles, like software engineering, you really don't even have to work the same time zone. I mean, maybe you meet once a day or once every couple days for a meeting. Other than that, though, you just got to do your work. So you could live in Thailand making 100, maybe 150,000 a year.
Absolutely. I mean, Josh, we both know Josh. I interviewed Josh on the
Yeah.
channel. Josh Madakor. He's kind of in the same space as us, passionate about the same things. I believe this isn't a secret or anything. He's posting about this on his social media, so I think this is okay to say. But I believe he's actually living in Japan right now. So he's really into Japan. He loves Japan, Japanese culture, Japanese food, etc. And yeah, he's just living it up in Japan, and he's working a full-time job in tech. And on top of that, he's also an instructor at CourseCareers teaching IT. And then on top of that, he has a YouTube channel. So, you know, it just gives you that flexibility to basically do whatever you want in your life. You know, it's no secret, like tech jobs tend to be relatively chill, relatively, and also relatively flexible too. So you have a lot of options.
Yeah. We give our employees paid spring break off.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean that's what you have to do to attract tech talent, because when someone has skills, that person's competitive.
Yeah.
Like for these sales development roles, if someone only has to interview with 2 companies to get a job offer, like it's hard to hire that person.
And that's what happens when you have in-demand skills versus trying to like become a professional painter or something like that. You know, like I have no problem with professional painters, but you're going to be swimming against the stream. It's going to be so hard if you try to, you know, do that boomer advice of like, follow your passion. Like, you don't want to do something you hate, don't get me wrong, but just purely following your passion is almost always going to lead to bad outcomes. You need to, you know, you need to look at the full picture, right? Like, go where the demand is, learn those in-demand skills, and then later on, you can do whatever you want. Once you have those in-demand skills, you can get a super cushy tech job and then follow your passion on the side. But you need to solve problems for society first before you go and try to just live your best life and like be a professional painter or something. You need to give value to society, and then once you've given value, you can take value for yourself.
That's what I love about entrepreneurship and work, is that the way you get paid is by helping other people solve their problems at the end of the day. I mean, when you're selling a product, you're helping that business save money, which helps their customers get the products they want at a more affordable price. So it's like working actually does good for society. So it's really important to get a job, especially a high value job where you get paid a lot of money, because that means you're providing a lot of value for society in return.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll try to get caught up on these questions. I'm a junior at Stanford and I'm studying aerospace engineering. Should I go for a master's degree or higher? Joker, you know, it depends. What's your goal? Like, the first thing you need to determine, Joker, is like, what is your goal? And then once you know your goal, you determine where you're at right now. Okay, so you have a starting point and an end point. You have a current situation and a desired situation. And once you have those two things down, then it's very easy to make a good plan to get from point A to point B. And that plan might change, and that's fine, but it's important that you have a plan. And the reason for that is because when bad things happen, which inevitably will happen, or when you change your mind, or when something pops up, maybe the economy goes down or something like that, there's a cause and effect relationship, and you can determine what was wrong with your plan. But if you don't have any plan at all, you're not going to be able to determine what was wrong. And you're just going to be like a leaf blowing in the wind, and you're never going to know like why these things are happening. You're going to think it's like, oh, it's bad luck, or it's misfortune, or that sort of thing. It gives you no agency or control over your life if you don't have a plan. So it's very important, Joker Dog, that you figure out what your plan is. And if that plan involves the need to get a master's degree in aerospace engineering, then go ahead and do it. So for instance, maybe you want to work at NASA, you contact people at NASA and you ask them, hey, do I need to get a master's degree in order to get this position that is my dream job? And maybe they tell you no, maybe they tell you yes. If they tell you no, then you definitely do not need to get a master's degree. You want to contact several people and ask them. But if they tell you yes, then in that case, okay, go ahead and do it. But typically speaking, I would say most of the time, the answer is going to be no there. You typically are not going to need a master's degree unless it's like something very specific that you're going for.
I completely agree with that. And I think a lot of people, the biggest mistake they make with their careers, they don't work backwards from a goal. It's really ambiguous where they're just like trying to do a little bit of everything and hoping they figure it out along the way. When in reality, that's just going to result in a lot of waste. That's like buying a ton of raw materials and then trying to build a house from it. It's like you're going to be left with the worst house ever. You need to keep needing to buy new things. When in reality, you should just start from your blueprint and then work back to figure out what materials you need to build that blueprint. So really start with the end in mind, and in this case, start with the specific specialized career, entry-level career that you want.
Absolutely. Agreed. Arnold says some colleges are partnering with outside companies and promoting their course under their name. I've seen one with Greenfig and a university for digital marketing. Yeah, this is actually becoming more and more common. Colleges are even purchasing boot camps. There's a lot of boot camps out there that are, you wouldn't even know it, but they're actually owned by colleges or corporations that own a bunch of different colleges. And typically speaking, those boot camps that are owned by colleges don't do a very good job. And I mean, are you surprised? Probably not. I mean, they didn't do a good job with college in the first place. So why in the world would they do a good job with boot camps? Like they've been running this racket of college for the last like 30 years. And so, they're realizing that alternative education is pretty much, on the cusp of replacing them. I think 50% of Gen Zs are planning on not going to college. I believe that there was an article that Troy sent me. I thought that was a really good article. 50% of Gen Z is planning on not going to college, right? So colleges are realizing that, hey, it's up, right? They've been unmasked. Like they're not giving enough value to justify that price. It's very obvious. And there are alternatives that are just much better. And so, yeah, they're trying to get into the boot camp game. They're trying to get into the online course game. And typically, they're not doing a great job. And so that's why, for me, that's why I find my channel to be so important, because I review these different boot camps, different online courses and stuff like that. And I tell you guys which ones are good, because a lot of them out there are not that good, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think there's
Oh, go ahead.
I think there's 3.2 million people who graduate high school every year. And the number historically was I believe mid 70% that went to college. So now that new study says that only about, I think it's 51% even plan on going to a 4-year university. So let's say 50% go. I mean, we're talking about close to 1 million students a year, not 1 million more students a year not going to college. It's what are these people going to do? So that's really where CourseCareers and alternative education comes into play.
Absolutely, yeah. If we could put that link in the chat to the Skype ID as well as the CourseCareers link, if we can just keep putting that link in the chat, I would appreciate that. David or whoever else is listening. So is my mic, is there something wrong with my mic? Oh, okay.
I can answer Hayes Smith question. You're wondering if you should go through Seth's digital marketing course or go to college for a trade or computer science degree. What I can tell you, we actually hired 2 engineers recently. We hired one who just graduated from Georgia Tech with computer science. With Georgia Tech, if you didn't know, is a very good, prominent computer science school. A lot of very big companies hire from it. And then we also just hired that 21-year-old self-taught engineer who's been working for the past 2 years. Now, the Georgia Tech grad is actually 1 year older, and he's not making as much money as the 21-year-old because he doesn't have the experience and can't provide the same level of value that the 21-year-old with experience can provide. So I would just recommend self-education and getting your foot in the door and getting that work experience. If you were going to have to start school and then spend 4 years, maybe if you're like 3 years into it, and then you can just finish up a degree, it might be worth it in that case. But now if you have to spend at least 4 years, that opportunity cost, that's better spent on the job, getting skills, making money.
Yeah, so I've made videos about this before, and it really depends on the person, but I will say if you do want to get a degree, the place I recommend is WGU. Get a computer science degree from there, because you can knock it out in like a year or less. Josh Matacore did a video where he actually knocked his out in 2 months, and it's a legit degree, regionally accredited, top 10% school, respected in the technology industry. I consider WGU to not be traditional education. I consider them to be alternative education, because they just don't operate like a traditional education university. So if you are going to get a degree, I would recommend WGU. But like Troy said, you don't have to get a degree. You don't have to. What career should you pursue for interstellar space travel? Sorry, guys, I just don't have time for funny questions like that, but that's a funny question. SpaceX engineer. Yeah, maybe SpaceX engineer, yeah. Doesn't require... Let's see. The Native American...
Here's a good question for you, Shane. Is a master's degree in economics worth it?
Again, it depends on what you're going for. Does the career that you're going for require a master's degree in economics? And if the answer to that question, after you've contacted people who are in that career on LinkedIn, and they've told you, yes, it does require a master's degree. If the answer to that is yes, then okay, go ahead and do it. But if the answer to that is no, then absolutely not. Don't get it. You don't need it. Holden Fees says, as a Native American, I'm exempt from paying tuition if I go to UC school. To what degree does this make grad school a better option for me? I'm a cog-sci major. Again, it depends on what your goals are. I feel like I'm a broken record at this point, but yeah, it depends, Holden Fees. Like it depends on, like, is grad school going to help you get to your goal? Like, the first step is figure out where you're at right now. The second step is figure out where you want to be. And then the third step is reverse engineer and figure out the steps it's going to take for you to get from where you are right now, your current situation, to your desired situation. And if those steps do involve going to grad school, which, spoiler alert, I'd say 95 to 99% of the time, it's not going to require grad school. Then go ahead and do it. But yeah, most of the time, you're not going to need that. Most of the time. Dude is making millions every month. Okay. Developing a personal brand sounds really fun. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. What about when a personal branding fails? Let's go ahead and stick with career questions for the most part here. Let's see. My master's in Greece. Hello, Shane. I did a BA in political science, and because I like the tech industry, I do my master's in management information systems. Is that a common thing in the U.S.? Yeah, I mean, that does definitely happen, John. And to be honest with you, that happens with a lot of people where they, when you're 18, you think you want to be a politician, so you get a political science degree, and then you find out you actually don't want to be a politician. You don't want to be in that world. And so they switch. And the great thing about a company like CourseCareers is if you buy the tech sales course and you decide you don't want to be in tech sales, you wasted, well, not even really wasted, you spent $450 in a few months of your life versus going to college where you're going to spend $80,000 in over 5 years of your life on average. So, I mean, it's not even comparable. You could have tried like 10 different things, taking different courses at CourseCareers, and chances are you're going to find something you like in that same amount of time, and it would have costed you like probably 1/10 the amount of money. So it's really like a no-brainer from a risk-reward perspective. these these boot camps and these online courses that are popping up. They get you into these in-demand careers.
Yeah, right now the return on investment is like 2 days. I mean, if you take the average starting salary as a sales development rep, which is tech sales, it's about $70,000. If you put that on a daily basis, it's like $270 a day. So in your first 2 days on the job, the course pays for itself. So it's really a no-brainer.
Absolutely. Atlas, the world on my shoulders, asked best way to get hired tomorrow. That's an interesting question. Do you have an opinion on that one, Troy?
The best way to get hired tomorrow, I would say go door knocking for retail. So you have to go for something very low barrier to entry, very high in demand with low supply of available talent, and they're going to hire you on the spot.
Yeah, if you absolutely had to get hired tomorrow for something, yeah, something like that. Honestly, if I had to make money tomorrow, I wouldn't even go for a job. I would start posting like maybe moving service or something like that on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. I'd start responding to people who posted requests for that on Facebook Marketplace. If I needed to make money tomorrow, that's what I would personally do. A remote job that you can get relatively easily, it's probably not a job you want to do forever, but customer service representative is relatively easy to get into. That's a remote job. I don't think you could get it in one day, though. It'd probably take you a few weeks.
Yeah, actually, I recommend people when their communication skills aren't the best or they just don't have the money to invest in CourseCareers. It's like you could probably get a customer service job that pays $15 an hour, fully remote, almost immediately, and they're not going to demand too many requirements. Then you can use that time to build up your communication skills, put a little bit of money in the bank, and then level up into a sales development rep where you can more than double your income from that role.
Yeah, and then there's kind of like customer relationship management roles, which are kind of in between sales development rep and customer service, where you're typically going to be working for like a B2B company, business to business company, which is a company that sells products and services to other businesses. And so typically that's more of a high ticket sort of thing. So you might have a contract with another company that's worth like, $100,000 to $100,000 to $1 million. And so they will have dedicated reps to kind of support that company and if the company has any questions or any technical difficulties. So that's kind of like an in-between type role, and typically that is going to pay quite a bit more than customer service representative. So should I do data analytics or software engineering? Athala, I can't answer that question because you're just not giving me enough information. But I would say those two, I personally would prefer software engineering a little bit more, but data analytics is awesome too. They're both like super valuable.
Here's a question. I fear sales because I'm an introvert. I've been thinking about tech sales and how my IT degree will benefit me. So, I mean, it really doesn't matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert. Both people are very successful. And they actually did a study to figure out who's more successful as a sales development rep, which degree. And they found that people with engineering degrees, STEM degrees, are actually more successful than everyone else. It's not correlated at all, whether you have a degree or no degree or any degree. It's only STEM that has a slightly better performance. And I think the reasoning is because the best sales reps ask the most questions and talk the least. So being an introvert, all you do is have to ask really great questions and listen, and you're going to do very well in sales. And all you really have to do is have great communication skills to be able to do that. And if you have an IT degree, then you might want to consider going into an IT support role and then moving up the IT career path, if that's of interest too.
Agreed. Yeah, IT is great because it's like a pretty good like entry level way to get in, like IT help desk, and there's so many different directions you can go. Josh started off in IT, for instance, and then he like went up and did a bunch of different IT related jobs. Then he transitioned to cybersecurity, and then he transitioned to software development. And I think Antoine started in IT as well, I believe. Antoine's another person that I interviewed on the channel. He's awesome, from Black Heights. Antoine from Black Heights YouTube channel. So mechanic, or should I become a robotics tech? Oh, this was a good question here. Oh, let's see. I'm going to do, just tired of being broke. I just wish I knew which skill I could enjoy career-wise. Yeah, Hala, just I would say, just, you've commented a few times, Hala. It seems like you're a little bit more on the kind of creative side. So for you, I would say probably digital marketing or UX UI design would be two good options. Also look into instructional design. There's a ton of opportunity there. Typically that one, it's a little harder to get a job, but it's very easy to make money as a freelancer right now with instructional design. So that's something I would definitely look into.
And Desmond asked, does supply chain management and finance double major go well together? And my question to you would be, well, what type of job in supply chain are you looking to do? You should really work backwards from that specific entry-level job, and then figure out what education and work experience you need to land that position. Because oftentimes people go in thinking they're just going to major in supply chain and get a job in supply chain, but supply chain is huge. I mean, there are no careers that or jobs that are just titled supply chain. You're going to be a warehouse manager. You could be managing trucks, a truck driver. I mean, there's 1,000 different jobs you could be doing. There's lots of sales jobs in supply chain. That's a very popular one where they hire recent graduates. So really try to work backwards from an end goal.
Locknath Chakraborty just asked, Shane, would you say digital marketers will eventually have to know how to code? I've seen some digital marketing jobs where they require coding and experience. Typically, those are going to be more of like data analytics type skill sets. And no, most digital marketing jobs, you're not going to have to learn how to code. Those are typically only the ones where it requires a lot of data analytics skill sets. So, you know, maybe pay-per-click or deep level data analytics stuff is you're going to have to learn how to code. But there's a ton of other options where you don't have to know any of that stuff. So is finance...
Yeah, we're moving more towards...
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we're moving more towards like low and no code. So that's where software engineers develop products that make it so all these people who aren't software engineers don't have to code. And that's happening right now in digital marketing a lot. So all types of analytics tools, messing around with website designs, like A/B testing, conversion rates, all of that is becoming no to low code. So if you go into digital marketing now, chances are if you don't need to code now, then you're definitely not going to need to code in the future.
Yeah, there's a ton of no-code stuff. I was just at a business conference, and there were a bunch of people who are like successful business owners that started like no-code software startups. So yeah, that is a huge thing that's happening right now. So yeah, you know, everyone was freaking out about how, you know, automation is going to take everyone's jobs. No, it creates better jobs. Like automation almost always creates better jobs. So yeah, it's not something to worry about very much. And even if it did, let's just say, devil's advocate, automation like takes care of all the jobs. AI just, you know, it can do all the jobs out there. There's AI content creators. Great. Then we can just sit around and do nothing. And like, hopefully like the AI will, you know, take care of us. We'll have like AI robot servants and stuff. So people that freak out about that stuff, like, it's definitely not something to freak out about, guys. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think in the past too, like in the 1800s, were over 90% of people in the US working as farmers. And then everyone was probably thinking at the time, oh, these tractors are going to kill all of our jobs. And now what are we going to do?
Yeah, it's people just like really freak out about that stuff, man. It's not that big of a deal. And even like worst case scenario, we get to a point in society where there is no innovation left and like everything's been created. Okay, great. Then we won't have to work, and that'll be an interesting world to live in. But it's not going to be like it'll still be okay. You know, so definitely don't worry about it, guys. It's definitely fine. Looks like someone's messaging me here on Skype again. Could you message them and ask them? Hey Troy, how much longer do you have before you have to?
I can hang out for as long as we want.
Awesome. Can you? So there's a lot of people, Troy, that are like messaging in, but they don't want to be on camera.
Yeah.
So, do we need somebody that's on camera if we're gonna roast them, or no?
I don't think we do.
You don't think so? Okay. All right, we can do that. Let's see, digital enterprise. All right, one moment. You can keep reading the comments while I take care of this, Troy, if you'd like.
Yeah. Do companies in the United States hire employees from European universities? So I mean, it really depends about the specific company and the role. I mean, most likely if it's a US company and they're expanding to the European market, then they're probably going to look to hire you locally there, but they're probably not going to look to hire you from a European university and then relocate you back to the States. Get a master's degree in industrial engineering, help get a data engineering job. So I probably wouldn't be the most qualified to talk on that one. But really what you should be doing, and what I still do as an entrepreneur, is find people that you want to be like or admire or want to learn from on LinkedIn, and then simply reach out. I mean, get their personal email address, use a tool like Apollo, message them on LinkedIn, tell them you're just looking to learn from them and you really value their expertise. And most of the time, they're probably going to be open to helping you. So, I mean, people are very generous with helping others who admire them. So just reach out to people in data engineering and ask them that. Certain characteristics of companies that should. So there's certain characteristics of companies that I should look for when applying for jobs in IT. I mean, if you're talking about entry level, like IT support jobs, preferably working for an in-house IT department, I think is going to be a little bit better. But at the end of the day, I mean, you can't be too picky for your first position. You don't have too much negotiating leverage. Really just getting your foot in the door, getting that experience is going to allow you to negotiate and change positions either to a better company or to a better position at the same company. So just focus on getting your foot in the door if it's your first job. So how's the progress coming on being able to get someone on the line?
I think we have somebody, but I'm just making them. I think I'm going to add this person. Maybe like a few more minutes, we'll be able to get him on.
Cool.
John Connor's going to save us. Nice.
Yeah. IT support for people over 50. There's really no age. Your age should not stop you. I mean, if you're feeling confident in your technical abilities and your ability to use a computer, then do it. I mean, don't let your age hold you back, whether you're 18 years old or in your 50s. It really doesn't matter.
David, it's saying that the Skype link is not working. I think is the Skype a link, or is it just, I think it's the Skype ID. Yeah, there's no link. That's my live ID. So you just have to, I mean, if you're familiar with how Skype works, you just have to type in that ID to message me on Skype. I don't know if there's a way to make a link out of that, David. Yeah, I don't know if that's, I'm sure there's probably a way.
Another question is it better to take a gap year to learn programming or learn programming after studying computer science degree. So I think work experience is the most valuable thing when it comes to programming, especially at a reputable tech company with good training using a modern tech stack. So it's the quicker you're able to get into that experience, the better. And like I was just saying, I mean, we're paying a 21-year-old 6 figures because he has 2 years of experience at a large tech company and completely self-taught, no boot camps, no degree. What jobs can you get with a general studies degree? I would probably not get a general studies degree. So I was
Please don't get a general studies degree. I think he's purposely trying to trigger me with that one. Yeah.
So you can do everything, but at the same time, you can do nothing.
Yeah.
I think a general studies degree is the equivalent of a high school diploma. You can do anything with a high school diploma.
Crusader for Christ, I want to be a gender studies director at a nonprofit organization. Roast me. Crusader, hey man, message me on Skype. We'll get you on here. We'll be nice, but we'll go ahead and roast you.
Gender studies at a nonprofit. Well, maybe if you get in with the right nonprofit, they might hook you up. I think I was just reading that whose nonprofit was it? It was one of the big billionaires, but they were paying their like director at this nonprofit like $500K a year.
Yeah, but typically, you know how that nonprofit stuff works, man.
Yeah,
That's like a friend of a politician's daughter or a friend of a big business person's son. You know, there's some like sketchy behind the scenes stuff going on usually there. A lot of times that's the case. But I will say, if you guys want to get into kind of the nonprofit, that sort of thing, the place where there's a ton of opportunity right now is sustainability. So anything that has to do with sustainability, environment, that sort of thing, there's a massive amount of opportunity there. Whether you agree with it or not, there's a ton of opportunity. I'm personally a big fan of nuclear energy. I think that's where we should be investing our time and money, but unfortunately they're kind of ignoring nuclear energy right now. But I think 200 years from now, nuclear energy is going to win. They're going to win the energy wars 200 years from now. Clip that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Nuclear energy is the future. Yeah. I think that'd be a really cool job. I'm not sure how in demand nuclear engineering is.
It's not. Right now, they're getting absolutely crushed right now. It's like -%. It's actually declining. Nuclear, at least nuclear engineering is, unfortunately. So it's like when I do my engineering degree tier list, I'm like, I love nuclear engineering, but I'm sorry, I can't tell you to go into this because it's not in demand right now. So yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're passionate about it, I do think there's going to be more opportunity in the future.
So you make nonprofits sound like money laundering. I will say that colleges are nonprofits, and there's a lot of behind-the-scene deals that get done with that government funding.
So much sketchy stuff. When you look into it, it's like a never-ending amount of like sketchy stuff that goes on. I mean, if you guys want to go down the rabbit hole a little bit, look up. I forgot his name, but there was a guy who was getting paid $20,000 per meal. Came from like a catering service or something, and providing government contracts for soldiers in the Middle East, and he was getting paid $20,000 per meal. So that's $60,000 per day per soldier in the Middle East. Now, if you want to, look that up. Look that up. Yeah, and tell me there's nothing sketchy going on there.
It's too easy when you have all this government funds being thrown at you and you have to spend it. You're going to be doing some sketchy deals. And that's why it's like, I mean, the idea of going to college, it's so ingrained in the U.S. because everyone's had their hands in the cookie jar for so long, getting all of this money. I mean, huge amounts of money, like $2 trillion in debt. That money's going somewhere where now they really don't want to give it up, even if it doesn't make sense to go.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and get this guy on here. Let's get him on the call. So I think there's an option to. What's his name? Yeah, that's him right there. Yeah, that's no, you were on him. Yeah, that's him. Add. And we don't want to reveal any of their information, so don't reveal any information. Yeah. Hey, what can we refer to you as? I don't want to reveal any of your information.
You can just call me by my first name. It's Joel.
Awesome, Joel. So yeah, Joel's on the call. Troy, can you hear Joel? Awesome.
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. Can. So Joel, go ahead and why did you switch it to that? Oh, it's fine. He doesn't need video. Yeah. He wants to be anonymous. Okay. Yeah. All good.
So did you just want to explain my plan, or what exactly did you want me to go into detail about?
It's showing the top left of Troy's head now. Sorry, 1 second. We're doing getting the technical stuff fixed.
Yeah, it's all good.
Real quick. There we go. We got Troy's good-looking face there. All right, I think it's good now. All right, awesome, Joel. So yeah. So go ahead and just kind of explain to us kind of like your career goals and what your plan is and stuff like that.
So my plan right now is I'm currently in the SDR, and I want to build upon that foundation. I know that sales as a whole is a skill that will be with me for the rest of my life. As long as I have the ability to talk to people, I can make money. So I want to be good at that. I want to build that foundation. Have those conversations and be good at it. So my plan is right now is to build upon that foundation for 2 years in the SDR role, which is what I'm currently doing. And then after that, for 3 years, so 3 years, 5 years, whatever the time frame may be, move more to a closing sales role, experience the full sales cycle and go through that process. After that, I'm a little lost because my long-term goal is to start a business, to not be employed by a company and to be in control of my destiny that way. But I don't really know how to make that pivot. I just know that sales is something I have to be good at and have to have as a skill, or one skill. There's a lot of skills I would need to start a business, but I know that sales as a whole is something that I need to have, and I know I need to put some years into that and then make that pivot, but I'm a little lost after that.
I think I'm qualified to talk about this. So Joel, I'm curious, how did you start as a sales development rep? Like, what did you do to break into this career?
So yeah, I'm 19. I had a little bit of not necessarily sales experience. I was going a little bit door to door. I was a part of a moving company, so I was just talking about services. And then I tried to do drop shipping, felt horribly, but I had it on my resume too. And what I did is I just reached out to managers with emails about myself and saying, hey, I want a role here. It didn't really work out. But one of them picked up one day, and I had a conversation with him. It went good, and I got a role with him. And I'm looking for a new opportunity right now, but that's been my journey so far. I reached out to a manager, I cold emailed them, and I cold called them, and then we set up an interview that way.
Gotcha. And how long have you been in this role?
I've been there 9, 10, maybe 11 months.
Okay. And why do you want to move?
I want to move for a couple of reasons. One, they made a compensation structure change, which, during the interviewing process, they didn't say anything about that. And then over time, they just sort of just gave it to me. And then it drastically changed the amount of money I was making. So even though I was hitting above my quota, after the change, I wasn't making the money I was making before. I couldn't predict that happening. And I just felt a little blindsided. So I was like, hey, I'm okay with what I do. I can go to another organization and try to find some success there. So that's why I want to change. And that's basically it, though.
And how much money were you making, like in your best month at that company?
Wherever 62K is divided by 12. That's currently what I was doing per month. As a base, I only made 40K. And then after that, it just depends on how many meetings I was setting that month.
Yeah. And do you have any student loan debt?
No, I don't have any student loan debt or anything like that because, once again, I didn't go to college.
Awesome.
Yeah, so see, you're not the type of person we can roast because at 19 years old, you're making $62,000 a year with no student loan debt, on high-paying career path in sales, you have a plan how you want to move up to an account executive, which is a closing role, which is going to make you six figures. This is like the opposite of a roast. This is a congratulations for making a lot of good decisions.
Yeah.
So as far as advice goes on going to an account executive role, I mean, as a sales development rep, 1 to 2 years, you can get promoted to an account executive. You're going to break six figures as an AE, which means account executive. And really, I mean, Antoine Wade from Black Heights, he's working on another business called Leveled, where he's actually developing a course specifically to help people level up from SDR to account executive, taught by an extremely well-known person in the space, Kevin Dorsey. So that would probably be something for you to look into, so you can really speed up that progression and increase your salary faster.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? What was it? I wasn't taking notes. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, it's called Leveled Careers.
Leveled or levels?
Leveled, Leveld, no E, then careers.com. And that's a course specific to level up from an SDR to an account executive.
Okay, and I have a quick question. I didn't want to come up here and, get pats on my back or anything like that. My question is more so centered on making that transition from being a full-time employee to, having your own business. I'm lost on what business will I even have, and trying to make that pivot. And so I just want to ask you, as somebody who does have their own company, how did you make that pivot, or how do you figure out what you want to do business-wise? Because I'm honestly very lost.
Yeah, I mean, at 19 years old, you don't have much direction, many skills. So if you do start a business, you're going to make a ton of mistakes. You're going to blow through a ton of money. It's going to take you longer than it's going to take someone else. So what you need to do right now is keep your expenses as low as you possibly can. I mean, if you can live on $30,000 a year, live on $30,000 a year, bank the rest. So hopefully by age 22 or so, you'll have over $50,000, if not more, in the bank with no debt. And then hopefully by that time too, you'll have some sort of idea of a business you can pursue. And then you can afford to make mistakes, not have it be successful or turn a profit from day one. And that's exactly what I did. I mean, by age 19, I had a substantial amount of money in my bank account. And it took me many years to make CourseCareers a success. And if I did not have all that money in my bank account, I would have never been able to start this business. So you're on the right career path as long as you're just saving up your money. Shane, what are your thoughts there?
Troy and I have very different business philosophies. He's like the startup guy. So he's a lot more more of a risk taker than I am. I'm like the play it safe, don't take risks type of guy. I mean, I literally became a pharmacist, right? I got a doctorate, right? Because that's how safe I played it. It's like a job that you're definitely going to be able to make money from, right? And then I was actually making good money for several years, and I didn't quit my job. I was actually making more money on my side hustles for several years before I quit my job. So I'm like the super play it safe type of guy. Like that's the kind of businesses I like, just like very predictable. Like I pretty much know what I'm going to make this year and next year sort of thing. Yeah, I just got back from a business conference in Bangkok. There are a lot of successful entrepreneurs, people who had just achieved success in the last few years. And the businesses I'm seeing people have a lot of success with are definitely number one, I would say, is probably service-based businesses. So service-based businesses are where somebody has a problem and you literally just like solve the problem for them essentially, right? So you're not solving it with them. You're not creating a software that solves the problem. You just like go into their business or their personal life or whatever, and you solve that problem for them. And those types of businesses, very easy to sell. It's super easy to sell a service like that because if you think of like the value proposition there, it's like, I have a problem and you're just going to take care of my problem. And that's great. And you can typically charge quite a bit for those types of businesses. So lots of people have service-based businesses. I will say probably the most stressed entrepreneurs are also people who are in service-based businesses because it can be kind of a pain dealing with clients. But yeah, service-based businesses are awesome. That's a great way to kind of start off. Your skill set in sales, prospecting, and then also hopefully you get some closing experience as well. is going to be great for service-based businesses, because those are typically like high ticket business to business type things. So I think your skill set would be great for service-based stuff. With that being said, some other really good business models. Affiliate marketing is awesome. Takes a little bit of time to get off the ground, but affiliate marketing is great. That's kind of what I do. You know, I don't have any, I do have the College 101 course, but I don't really focus on it. I just find really good products and services out there that have to do with my niche, and I tell my niche about it. Basically, I'm like, hey, go check this out. A few of them ended up buying it, and you know, I get some, you know, some money from that. So affiliate marketing is phenomenal as well. That's great because you don't have to deal with any of the fulfillment. You don't have to deal with customer service. You don't have to deal with any of that stuff, which is a massive headache, takes up a lot of your time. So I'm kind of more in like a lifestyle type business where like I'm not really trying to maximize my profits or anything like that. I'm like lifestyle, you know, kind of comes first to me. And I don't want to have to deal with any of that stuff because that's just a big headache. I did do a service-based business. I had some success with it. I personally didn't like it because of the fact that clients, you know, they'll like call you at night when you're on a date with somebody and stuff like that. I really don't like that. So I'm kind of an introvert. I don't really want to talk to people and stuff all the time. So I like affiliate marketing. Another really good one to get into, I would say, is just a personal brand in general. People don't really want to buy products from companies anymore. People don't trust companies. People don't trust like mainstream media in general, or things that are like, you know, advertised to them online a lot of the time. They trust other people. They trust referrals, and it's so much more powerful if you have a personal brand. So if you're, you know, willing to, you know, put yourself out there, personal brand is just super, super powerful. And you basically just establish yourself as an authority in your particular space, whatever that may be. Again, I typically do recommend focusing on problem solving, but there's lots of personal brands out there that are, you know, entertainment based, like for instance, Mr. Beast and stuff like that. So yeah, those are kind of the three that I would say have the most opportunity right now. Affiliate marketing. So for instance, with affiliate marketing, you could like make a blog. It does take some time to get off the ground though. But creating like a blog where you talk about different products and services, it takes some time to get off the ground, but man, it's almost hard to not make money doing that if you stick with it. Like the problem is the reason that people fail at that is literally because they just don't stick with it. But it's just step by step. You figure out what problems people are having, you make blogs about those problems, and you recommend products and services on those blogs. It's really simple. It's really simple. People will give up because in the first few months, they're not going to get that many views. It takes some time to get the blog off the ground. So most people give up, but if you just stick with it, I would say that one might have the highest chance of success out of any of them that I've talked about. But yeah, personal brand is amazing. Creating content, videos, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, etc. And then the first one I mentioned, which is a service-based business. And typically it would be a business-to-business type of thing. So those are the three that I would say have a very high upside and a very high chance of success. If you want a really high chance of success, but not a high upside, you could start like a kind of like a trade type business, like a storage facility, or something along those lines. Those businesses do typically have a very high chance of success. I know that old folks homes is another one, creating kind of like old, like elderly residence homes. I know there's a lot of kind of red tape with that one, but that has a high chance of success, and there's so many people that are reaching that age where they have to be in a home where people are taking care of them. So yeah, those types of businesses, typically a lot of hard work, not a lot of upside, pretty hard to scale, but they have a very high chance of success. So those are the kind of the ones that I would be looking at if I were in your position.
Yeah, I have 3 quick questions that came out from just you basically explaining everything. And for the very first one, you mentioned service-based businesses. I was actually talking to a couple of people on Twitter. I don't know if that's the best resource, but I was talking to somebody who recommends that SDRs, after they actually get good at their job, what they can do is try to use their skills to pitch to other businesses that need SDRs, but instead of working for them full time, they do freelance work. So they reach out to them, maybe talk about some customers that they've helped land at their current company, and they just pay on a per call basis. So for every meeting that they create, they just get paid on that. And so my question is that something that you, not maybe you, because you don't necessarily do that, but is that something that you would recommend an SDR or anyone early in their career to do, just to once again get that skill beat into them, and to also get good at freelancing, having that as another income source? Or is that something that you recommend? And then my second question is, I'm going to show my age with this question, but I'm only 19, and so at times I wonder, am I doing the right things? Am I missing out on some things? And so I still live with my mom, and I save most of my money, but I'm still thinking of moving out and doing my own thing and trying to rely on myself for that. And so I have a question in regards to that. How do you maybe make that decision to know that now is the time to move out, now is the time to do all that stuff? Because I'm making money right now, I'm saving my money, but I still wonder, am I doing the right thing? Do I need to move out? And should I, be more of an adult and have a place to myself? And then the third question is in relation to the personal brand. I like to remain anonymous. I don't like putting my face out there unless needed to. And so I guess my question is, is this something that you should just, get over that fear, or just get over that hump and just put yourself out there? Because putting yourself out there and creating a personal brand can open up so many doors for you. Or do you just continue to work in silent and just do your own thing?
I'll let Troy answer that first question for sure. That's not my wheelhouse, so I'll let Troy answer that first one.
Yeah, I'll take the first one. I actually have experience. It's called sales outsourcing. So what companies do sometimes is, instead of hiring salespeople internally, they look for another company who already has salespeople who know what they're doing and they can deliver results. And then they usually pay an hourly rate for that salesperson, or they could pay on a performance basis. So like per meeting set. So you could start one of these sales outsourcing companies, and preferably, maybe at the start, it's your time, you're the person doing the work, doing the sales, but preferably you start hiring other people. So let's say you could hire someone for $20 an hour to become a sales outsourcer for you, and then you sell their time for $40 an hour to this other company, or you pay them, say, $30 an hour, and they say set up 10 meetings and per month, and then you sell those 10 meetings for much more to that company, and you make the difference. So there's a ton of business. Thousands of businesses like this out there that do it, and there is a market for it. So if you can do it correctly, then you can definitely build a successful business and make money with relatively little risk.
Yeah, and I'll just add on to that. This business conference I went to, there was like over 400 successful entrepreneurs there, and the number one pain point I heard over and over again was sales team. They have trouble getting good salespeople, they have trouble training good salespeople, and they have trouble keeping good salespeople. So, that could definitely be a good one to get into. That is the number one pain point I heard at this conference. Like, so many of the business owners, that was their bottleneck in their business. So that could be a really good one. In terms of the second question, I think you said something about, should you keep living with your mom and that sort of thing. That is such a case-by-case basis. It's nice to be able to save money. I remember I moved out really soon, and I was like happy to move out. I was like, and then I actually ended up moving back in with my dad. Not that I needed to. It's just like, I was like, dude, it's not that bad. It's like, it's cool to be able to hang out with your dad and stuff. But I do think it helps you grow as a person a little bit when you move out, when you get out of the nest. So yeah, it's a case-by-case basis. I think just follow your instincts there. When it feels like it's right for you to move out, go ahead and move out. I would say just follow your instincts. Is it one of those situations where if you move out, your mom's never going to let you move back in? Because in that case, maybe delayed a little bit.
Oh, no. My mom is totally cool with moving out and moving back in. My sister moved out and then she moved back in, so she doesn't have an issue with it. It was just more so me coming from the frame of a 19-year-old who has I talk to people, and you can't just bring them back to mom's house. So, stuff like that. You're
Got
really
it.
showing my age here.
Yeah, man. If you feel like moving out is gonna kind of help you grow, if you feel like you're kind of stuck, that's the thing for me is like typically if I'm feeling good, I'll just keep doing whatever I'm doing at the time. But there's times in my life where I feel like I feel stuck. I feel like I'm kind of not growing. I've reached a plateau or something like that. I can't break through it. I'll change things up in my life. Like I'll move across the country. I'll go travel the world. I'll get a new job, something like that. And it tends to just kind of shake things up, and you feel like you're kind of in a routine and you're just not growing, you're not progressing. Sometimes that's the best time to kind of move and just shake things up a little bit. And I've found that to be like very effective for me when it comes to like, especially if I hit a plateau with something. And then could you repeat your third question?
Yeah, my third question was more so about the personal brand kind of thing. I like to remain anonymous online. I don't really like a whole lot of people knowing me because, well, the idea of everybody knowing me is not something I'm a fan of, and maybe I'm over exaggerating my importance in this world, but it's not something that's particularly appealing to me.
Yeah, I feel you. It's not for everybody, but it is super powerful. And I would say I would examine like the reason why, because like I'm introverted and personal brand has been great for me. So I would kind of examine maybe your reason why you want to remain anonymous. There's definitely some upside and some downside, but like what I do, I believe in so much, right? Like I believe in what I do with like every fiber of my being. I know that this is the future. Like alternative education is taking over. It's like, it is the future, and people need somebody like me to kind of tell them about all these traps so they can avoid falling into them. So what I do, it's very fulfilling to me, and I'm not really worried. Like I get like hate comments and stuff like that, but it doesn't bother me at all because I realize that like this is how society's been programmed. People have been programmed to believe this. And I've had tons of people be like, "Hey Shane, I made a mean comment a few years ago or whatever, but now that I've watched your content more, I actually agree with you. So thank you for what you've done." Like I've had comments like that quite a few times. So yeah, it's extremely fulfilling, but I totally get it if you don't want to put yourself out there. Like you don't need to. There's tons of people who operate in silence and are absolutely killing it. I mean, there's some people I ran into at this business conference. They're so low key and they are just absolutely crushing it. So you don't need to create a personal brand, but I feel like a personal brand is like a cheat code because people don't really want to buy from companies. They want to buy from other people. Like that's the why it's such a powerful thing. And even in my personal life, most of the products and services that I buy for my business, for instance, come from referrals from like people that I know. So, once in a while I'll find somebody off of an ad or like online and like that sort of thing. But a lot of the stuff that I buy does actually come from referrals. So, and that's just an example. It's human nature. Like you trust other people. You don't necessarily trust like a corporate entity as much. So that's why a personal brand is so powerful. I mean, you literally might convert like 2-5 times better if you have a personal brand. I mean, Troy, you know how well my affiliates convert. It's like it's 10 times higher than a lot of like the industry standard. So yeah, personal brand is extremely valuable.
Yeah, just to go over what you said before in terms of self-evaluation, it's coming from a place of insecurity. I'm introverted by nature, even though I work in sales, and it's maybe not emotionally draining, but I guess mentally draining being in sales and being introverted. So when I put myself out there, it's something that I'm consciously doing, and I don't really like it. And on top of that, I have insecurities in regards to myself. So when I put myself out there, it just doesn't feel right. So I guess it's just something I have to, get over. I know I have big goals that I want to accomplish, and I shouldn't let insecurities about myself really prevent me from getting there. So it's something that I guess with time I'll just have to get over and just push through. So yeah, thanks for helps.
Absolutely.
The
And
answer so
I'll just
far.
say one thing is like, if you find something you're really passionate about, like a really painful problem in society that you're trying to help solve, I mean, it's kind of like, it's bigger than you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where it's like, it's bigger than just the individual person. And so I think that'll kind of help you to put yourself out there, like something that you really believe in, something that you're extremely passionate about and you really believe in, you can definitely put yourself out there and kind of overcome those insecurities, I think, because it's a net positive for society. If you find something that, you know, like a problem that a ton of people have and you figure out how to solve that problem for them, it's just a massive net positive for society. So I think that for me personally, that's kind of what made me overcome my insecurities personally.
I guess I have a quick question for that. Have you, find something that you're passionate about that you want to, help with? Because I don't really have two things that I'm really passionate about in life, because I'm only 19 and haven't really experienced too much. So how would you even go about doing that?
I can answer that, and I'm very practical with it. I try to find painful problems that I had in my past or I've seen my friends have, and then I just figure out how to solve those painful problems. And that gives me personally a ton of just satisfaction and gratification doing that. And it's just something that I just really enjoy researching, studying, and talking about. And I think it kind of just goes back. I have this weird theory. It kind of just goes back to like our brains were designed to live in tribes, right? Of like, around 200 people. And our brains are not used to this weird modern world with all this technology, like subconsciously. And so if you were in a tribe and you were a fisherman or a craftsman or, a basket weaver or a pot maker or something like that, you were significant to that tribe. Like your job was significant. If you died, that tribe would feel the loss of your death. And I think that's one of the main reasons why so many people are so unhappy with their careers is they're in a career where if they were to leave that job, they wouldn't really be missed. They'd just be replaced right away. And so when you find something that is a painful problem that a bunch of people have, and you're one of the only people in the world that is able to solve that painful problem, it gives you a feeling of significance, almost like as if you were in that, like a tribe, right? And you were like one of the few people who were really good at fishing or really good at, crafting or like a blacksmith or something like that. Well, I guess blacksmith was a little later on, but yeah, I think you get my point. So personally, that's the process that I would take. Now, you might find a painful problem and you might get good at solving it and then you end up not liking it, but you got to start somewhere, and I think that's a good place to start. Start with the demand. What do you think about that, Troy?
Okay, I'm just taking notes right now.
Yeah, I mean, almost all, I think it's probably over 90% of all like large tech companies are started from personal problems. So it's like the number one thing venture capitalists look for when they invest in companies is, did this founder experience the problem themselves? If they didn't, the business is probably going to fail. So it's very important that you actually understand the problem because you've experienced it yourself. And then usually you can develop passion around that because you understand the problem better than anyone else. So you can go about solving it.
Yeah, and I'll just say, like, I wake up every day and I'm excited to help people, like help them find what career is best for them and then help them efficiently get into that career without going like, $40,000 in debt, etc. Right? Like get into those, like first help them find the career and then help them get into that career extremely efficiently without wasting a bunch of time, effort, and money. So like I wake up every day and I'm super excited to help people solve these problems, right? Because it's extremely satisfying when, someone finds your channel and then 2 weeks later they've got a brand new career like in tech sales and they're absolutely killing it and they're loving it, right? That's extremely satisfying to be able to help people like that.
Yeah, and Joel, do you know any, or can you think of any specific problems that you've encountered that you understand that maybe other people don't understand as well as you?
Yeah, actually, this is sort of a topic I've been talking about with my friends. They've been trying to get internships, but they don't necessarily know how to maybe stand out from the crowd. So one of my friends is going to school to become a dietitian, but he doesn't really have the experience. But I've been trying to get him to call up local clinics and ask for an internship, or not internship, but internship with them, and just have the ability to shadow them. So I've been trying to help him with that. So I kind of understand where they come from when they don't know how to really stand out, but I've been trying to help them cold call and maybe cold email and then put themselves out there and I guess get an internship and set themselves up a little bit after college. So that's a problem that I've been coming into personally. Not from first-hand experience, know how hard it can be to try to land a job when you don't really have all the crazy resume or the experience to go to maybe make yourself stand out, and you have to do other stuff to put yourself out there.
Yeah, so I mean, that could be a business right there if you could figure out a way to help more people get internships in that specific niche. Then you could probably make money from it. I mean, right now, like we just do tech sales and IT, helping people land entry-level positions and internships. And I mean, it's even though it's a very, I guess, small niche compared to the greater world and society, there's still a lot of people to help. And in your case, if it was becoming like a dietitian, and helping people get internships in that space, it's a large market in the U.S.
That was just one example. That's just going to school to get a business degree, so I've been trying to help him with that. I honestly don't know too much about becoming a dietitian. I just know that my friend is trying to become a dietitian, and he was maybe asking me a couple of questions in regards to maybe how I can do that, because I was talking about it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if I were you, I would just be open to all the possibilities. So anywhere you go in life, any problems that you encounter, write down those problems and think about it. Like, is there a good solution to these problems? How severe is the problem? Like, is this going to really hurt your life if this problem doesn't get solved? So problems in like education, they're worth a lot of money because it's life-changing. Problems in medicine, life-changing, worth a lot of money. So think about problems that could really, really impact someone's life, and then those are the problems you want to go about solving.
Okay, that actually makes a lot more sense, because coming into this call, I didn't really have that understanding, and I still maybe don't overstand it, but I have a little bit more clarity. So I'm thankful that I jumped on this call in the first place, and I had the access to you guys and to ask those questions.
For sure. Shane, do you have any last thoughts before we go back to answering these questions in chat?
Yeah, so I just want to second what you said. Yeah, the more painful the problem, the better, honestly, when it comes to solving it. Like, you want to find like an extremely painful problem that a bunch of people are having, and then figure out a way to solve that problem for them. So yeah, kind of what Troy said basically. And thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm great.
Yeah,
I really am grateful that I hopped on this call. I didn't want to before, but I'm happy that I did.
Got it. Hey, maybe next time you can show your face. You'll have maybe next time you'll be able to show your face. I don't think anybody wants to. I've had people message me and they're like, no, I can't show my face. I guess I don't blame them.
I guess this is one of those things. I have a quick question, my last question.
Okay.
Will this be up on YouTube? Because I really want to watch the replay. I don't have any issues with it. I just want to watch the replay and maybe take some more notes.
I'll probably leave it up on YouTube for maybe a day, and then I'll unlist it, something like that. We might cut up the clips a little bit too.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
You got it, man. Have a good one. Yeah.
Okay, peace.
Peace. All right. Remove from call. All right, and then let's see. I think there's some people who were calling me on Skype while we were on that.
Cool. Yeah, very impressive to be working in sales development, 19, making $60K a year, no debt.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's doing a lot of things right.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's doing everything right at his age. Put me in, coach. David. Put me in, coach. Let's see. You can, if you want to, you can answer some of the questions, Troy. I'm sure like people have a lot of questions.
Cool. I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
So general studies degree with science undergrad prerequisites into any career that requires a master or doctorate is healthcare field. So that's probably a better question for you. What would you recommend for someone in meteorology? Let's see. Does having a WGU make it hard? So does having a WGU degree make it harder to break into sales or digital marketing? So definitely not harder. If anything, it's going to make it easier. The question is how much easier. So if you get a degree, I mean, at the very least, companies will place probably some value on it, but they're not going to place negative value on it.
Yeah, it certainly wouldn't hurt, but yeah, it's not necessary for those two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, in our case, like our students compete with recent graduates usually, and just 1 month's like going through CourseCareers and finishing in a month is actually substantially more valuable than like a business degree for these sales development positions. So definitely for like the business world, placing a lot of value on specialized education.
All right, we have a caller and they are comfortable showing their face. Awesome. I'm gonna get David on here.
Cool.
You're just gonna send this to David. All right, David, if you're listening, we just sent you a invite to join the Skype call. Not David Lachter, David Moran, the other David.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Hey, David, how's it going? Thanks for coming on the call.
Yeah, and I'm happy, man. I've watched your content for a while.
Awesome, man.
It's very helpful to me.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Let's before you start, I just need to make sure we have the camera centered and we have all three of you on the call here real quick.
Troy, what do you work in?
Say that again.
What do you work in? Like, what's your job?
I'm the founder of CourseCareers.
Yeah, he's a tech sales. He teaches people how to get into like high-paying, in-demand careers that don't require a college degree.
Yeah, I've heard of CourseCareers, but I didn't know you were the owner or founder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We've been helping a lot of people start careers, and I'm curious to learn a little bit more about your background and what you're looking to do career-wise.
Let's not start quite yet because we don't have him in the frame yet.
Got it.
Sorry. Sorry, guys. Technical issues. Trying to figure this out. Oh, there we go. Awesome.
We good? Wait, are we ready?
Almost. There we go.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Close enough. All good? Got my IT guy right here. Fixing it. See, IT, very valuable.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. All right. So, David, yeah, tell us your situation and hopefully we can help you out.
Yeah. So I'm still in high school. I'm a senior, but I was thinking of like possible as a possible option to study in WGU and then do course careers and study. I already know the job I want. I want tech sales or digital marketing. Yeah.
Okay. Looks like his is frozen. It's frozen. His screen is frozen.
I could move
I think you're
about
lagging
place-
so much that it's not even coming through on the screen. Yeah, the audio's okay though. Okay, well we'll roll with it. So yeah, Troy, do you want to go ahead? I'll let you answer that one first.
I should take it. So, I mean, if your end goal is to start a career in tech sales, then I'd probably skip WGU or a degree in general, and just test out the career in tech sales and see if you like it. I mean, right now, I'm assuming you're only guessing that you'll like it. So the best thing you can do is learn about it, get your first position, actually put that test to the real world, make some money. And if you choose tech sales isn't for you, then pivot into digital marketing and test that career out. But the best thing you could do right now is to quickly be learning and testing careers until you find one that you really want to stick with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. Like, I'm in between tech sales or digital marketing because I think they offer good skills, but I still don't know like the day-to-day of tech sales and digital marketing. Like, I don't know the whole world, and I don't know like how I'd like it. So I also wanted to ask about that. Like, did you work in tech sales, Troy?
Yeah. So I started my career in technology sales at 18 years old. And then by age 19, I got promoted to a closing position as an account executive where I was making some really good money. So pretty similar to what your goal is. So I mean, based on your personality though, do you think you would enjoy talking with people on the phone, meeting with people all day? Or would you rather enjoy working from a computer on your own schedule and like messing around with numbers and different ad creatives? So like designs, do you have any preference there?
Yeah. I mean, I think both, like I said, both of them have like offer very good skills that like will later on help me. But to which one would I prefer? I don't know. Like, how's the like the day-to-day life of tech sales like?
Yeah, so they're quite a bit different day to day. So tech sales, your average day, you're going to be making lots of cold calls, sending lots of emails. You're going to be in meetings. You're going to be on the phone. So it's a very like communication driven type of job, actually talking with people, right? Compared to digital marketing, where there's a good chance you're not going to talk to a single person in an entire week, maybe someone on your team. So you're just going to be working from a computer, creating graphics and making those go live on social media or running advertisements, editing videos.
Yeah.
So things like that is what digital marketing would involve compared to tech sales. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And based on that answer, I think that I'd lean more to tech sales right now because like I'd also be skipping college, and that's like a big social motivator, college. And so like I don't know if I'd want to be like stuck in the house like just doing graphics all day. I think I want to like talk to people.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tech sales does allow you to do that. I mean, any thoughts, Shane?
Yeah, basically very similar to what Troy said. So you really, there's approximately, let's just say, for example, there's a 50% chance that you're going to like whatever career you go into. Just to keep things simple, let's say 50% chance. Maybe it's a little less than that, maybe a little more. But it's like if you go to college and you get like a degree that, you know, typically takes 5.1 years on average, there's still going to be a 50% chance that you don't like that career. If you go to college and it takes like 12 years because you become a doctor or something like that, there's still going to be a 50% chance you don't like the career. So to increase your chances of actually enjoying your career, the smartest thing for you to do is to try to get into careers that don't take a very long time to, or a lot of, you know, time, effort, and money to get into. And tech sales is one of them. Digital marketing is one of them. You know, you've got data analytics, you've got software development, relatively easy. You know, you've got a lot of options out there for these types of careers that you can get into relatively quickly. And if you got a 50% chance every time, chances are you're going to find one within a few tries that you actually really enjoy. And so, you know, and the downside is really there's almost no downside, because even if, like, let's say you go into tech sales, you don't enjoy it, you're going to have a much better idea at what your skill set is, like what are you naturally talented at, or, you know, you grew up and for some reason, you know, that's a skill that you have, what you actually enjoy, what you might want to do in the future. You're going to have a much better idea of these things after you've tried out a career. And that's going to help you to choose your next career. That, you know, hopefully is another one that you can get into relatively quickly. So yeah, definitely it just makes a lot more sense to try to get into these super high demand careers where you don't have to risk that much time, effort, or money to see whether you're going to like it or not.
Yeah. And like logically it makes sense to me, and it's something I want to do, and it offers like more flexibility than the traditional path. But I'm still just like doubting it, because like it's so unusual and like so unconventional. And also, like, I don't know how, one of my big worries is like how I balance my social life and like the thing that I'm doing, like WGU and or course careers. Like, so a question, like, to turn it into a question, like, how do you guys like balance that work to life with these like careers that are different?
Yeah, I can jump in there. I mean, so you're young, you probably want to get that college experience. Your friends are going to college, right? This seems lame. But the good news is, by putting in the grunt work while you're young, by making smart decisions, you could be like me. I mean, I'm 24 years old. I make really good money. I live in Mexico on the beach. I mean, Shane is, yes, I live in Cancun on the beach. Shane is living in the Philippines in his 20s.
Traveling the world, man.
So, yeah.
That's
like,
cool.
I mean, look at us. And there's other people where they've partied it all out and when it made all these bad decisions while they were 18, 19, 20, and now they're grinding it away, trying to pay off that debt. So it's better just to make good decisions while you're young. So, I mean, very realistically, I mean, you could be in a very comfortable position by your mid-20s.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, and that's basically a cheat code. Like, a lot of people aren't willing to do that. But if you move to like a place that has a lower cost of living and then you're making money from the US, I mean, that is literally like the cheat code of all cheat codes. It is literally like you can save up so much money doing that.
Yeah, I'm here in Puerto Rico, and
nice.
there's a lot of Americans that come here and they benefit so much from it.
Yeah, I was just in Puerto Rico last year. My best friend's from he's Puerto Rican. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, Puerto Rico is beautiful. San Juan area. Yeah,
it is.
It's awesome, man. But like, there's even places that are much lower cost of living than Puerto Rico. I'm sure Mexico's probably a little lower. You know, Philippines, Thailand, very, very low cost of living. The locals, like, typically speak, there's exceptions, but typically speaking, like, the locals tend to love it as well, because you bring so much money to the places that you're going. So they bring a lot of money. They tend to hire people as well in the places that they move to. So like, the locals tend to love it if you're an American and you move there, or if you're like Canadian, British, you know, like you come from a country where it's very easy to get like a high paying job or considered a high paying job in other parts of the world anyways. Yeah.
And then the tax benefits of working remote too and living in another country. I mean, if you're outside of the US, I believe it's like 330 days a year. You get the first a little over 100K tax free. So yeah, I mean, there's really some good benefits to working in the tech industry, where you can structure your life in a way that most people can't structure it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I forgot my question.
Ken?
I think I was gonna ask about like how would you
People message.
wait, how would you like what's like the career path of somebody who starts out in tech sales or digital marketing? Because like I want to like I'm okay with not being a millionaire or being super rich, but I just want like a comfortable job that's like good paying, like tech sales. Because I have other passions in the side that like
Is he
to
willing
me
to
are
show
more
his
important.
face? Is like the typical question.
So like
Yeah.
yeah, how would the career path of somebody in tech sales be, and like what positions are there, and like which positions are good, which ones are kind of like shitty.
Yes, I mean, straight up, you're going to make more money in tech sales, but at the end of the day, you have to do what you enjoy and what you find fulfilling. So if you absolutely hate tech sales after you try it out, then don't pursue a career in tech sales and go up that ladder. Switch over to digital marketing. So really, what you should be doing right now, if you've decided on it's either tech sales or digital marketing, do all the research you possibly can into these careers. Watch all the videos on Shane's channel about them so you can really understand it. I mean, go through the CourseCareers introduction course if you haven't already, and go through Seth's digital marketing course, introduction course too, and get a feel for like what you'd actually be doing, what kind of qualifications they require, and then make an informed decision about which one you want to test. Because at the end of the day, that's all it really is. You're testing out this career to see if you like it. There's a pretty good chance that you're not going to like it. And then you test out another career and see if you like it. But since you're young, you have to start learning and testing these careers as soon as possible so you do find one that you want to stick with. And that's where a lot of people are going wrong, because they go to college, they go into a ton of debt, right? And they can only test one career. Like once you make that one decision and you have $40,000 in debt that you have to pay off, you can't afford to go back to school, right? Or stop working for 3 months or 6 months to start learning again. So it's really important to do that testing cycle while you're young.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do CourseCareers. And I still think I do WGU because like my parents want me to get a degree. But also I want to ask Troy, like, how is the process of like CourseCareers like being certified, or like how is its validity like yeah, just can you like speak on the how its validity is like real?
Yeah.
Just to like convince my parents.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you're trying to break into tech sales, CourseCareers is like by far your best bet. So we're the most well-known by employers, have the most in-depth education, teach you exactly what you need to know to land a position, and then even partner directly with employers to hire our students and drop the requirements. So I would suggest going through the introduction course on CourseCareers. Probably even go through it with your parents so they can really understand how it works and why it works. And then that should allow them to be more open-minded as to starting your career this way. And I mean, what you could do is, I mean, you could first go through course. Well, I'd first recommend learning more about digital marketing and tech sales before deciding which one you're going to pursue, because it is a pretty big decision. But if you do decide to pursue tech sales, then I mean, go through the learning, get your first position, test it out. And I mean, once you're in the door in tech sales, having a degree from WGU isn't really going to do you any good. So I wouldn't waste your time and money if like you do want to pursue a career in tech sales. But then if you realize tech sales isn't for you and there is another career that actually benefits more from having a degree, then going to like a WGU would definitely make sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Shane?
Messaging. We will disarrange from.
Like message on here. Okay.
Cool. Well, David, do you have any other questions?
Yeah. So for those, like, what would a degree in WGU be useful for? Like, what careers would it be useful for?
So my expertise is really in like the tech field. So think of like sales, marketing, software development, data analytics. These types of careers in tech, they're really skills oriented, which means they value you having the education to do the actual job, the skill, and then they also value real work experience. So degrees aren't too relevant for these types of careers. Degrees still are somewhat valuable, but your time is better spent actually acquiring the actual skills to do the job and then getting real world work experience for most of them. Really work back, like choose a specific career and then work backwards to figure out the best and most efficient way to get into that career. And chances are in 2022, it's probably not going to involve college if it's a business career.
Okay. Well, thanks, Troy. And I think Shane's busy, but I'll have to say goodbye.
Yeah. Thanks for
So
coming
thank
on,
you
man.
guys.
Yeah.
Have
Thanks,
a good one,
David.
David.
All right, bye.
Have a nice one. Bye. I'll go through some of these more questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, the maximum exclusion is 112,000 per year. That sounds about right if you're out of the country long enough. So, benefits of working fully remote. So usually with tech companies too, I will say, a lot of tech companies are hiring fully remote. They are going to want you to have a US-based tax address. So for like legal and tax purposes, they want to be able to have that US tax address, but they really could care less if you live in that specific state. But they're just going to tell the government that you do. You could move to Mexico, Puerto Rico, which is actually the US, Costa Rica, or any other places that are hopefully on a similar time zone to the company's working hours to be easy on you. And then you can get that tax exclusion. So it's some really, really cool stuff. Let's see here. It's a client-facing role. Yeah, tech sales is going to be paid better than digital marketing, probably because it's like most people just don't want to do it, and it's really high, like it's super high value to companies. And most people, like when they think of careers, like sales is the first career that pops up on their mind. So that's where like Shane is doing an awesome job of educating people that tech sales is actually a really good in-demand career that pays a lot of money, because most people just don't realize that, and that's probably why wages are so high, because demand is far greater than the supply right now.
Yeah, and I mean, just to kind of second that, like, I just went to a business conference, and like the number one pain point for all the business owners there was sales. And a lot of them were in tech, right? But it's like B2B sales. Yeah, it's just massively, there's just not enough people. It's super, super valuable if you have that skill set.
Mm-hmm. Actually, with like B2B tech companies, a lot of people don't realize this, but in many companies, about half of the entire company's budget goes to salespeople. So if that company, say it's a decent sized tech company, they spend $100 million a year, $50 million of that goes to the sales team. So it's just like an enormous department for all B2B tech companies. And that's why it pays so well. There's so many jobs. It's just a huge requirement.
The sales team eats. They get fed. Like they get the money. The company's making money, the sales team's making money.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, because your results can be tied directly to the company, right? Like if you sell $1 million worth of product, the company knows to pay you a percentage of that $1 million. No other careers can be tied that closely to actual, like, real monetary results. I believe really the only other careers like sales are going to be finance. And that's why people in finance get paid so much, like hedge fund managers. If you deliver 15% return on investment and someone else delivers a 10%, I mean, it's very easy to pay that person who delivered a 15% return on investment more money. it's like there's no arguing that they did a better job.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I think we'll take like maybe one more person. Let's go.
You can send the invites there.
William. Send it to William. Hey, William, we're gonna have you on here in a moment.
This one, bro?
So do I just... Okay, yeah, that one.
So another question is, how is it possible to start a high-paying career without a degree? I would just recommend going through our introduction course at CourseCareers, and it's going to teach you exactly why it works and how it works. I mean, we live in a specialized economy with specialized jobs that require a specialized education, and that's exactly what we teach at CourseCareers. And that's why an 18-year-old who goes through CourseCareers and finishes in a month is going to have a significant advantage for getting a tech sales job compared to a college graduate.
Hi, how are you guys?
Hey, 1 second. We're trying to get you in the frame here. 1 second.
Is my
Doing
audio
well,
good? I
William.
feel too echoey.
Yeah, I think you're a bit echoey, but it should be fine.
All good. William, are you still showing your face, or oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah. Hi, so how are you? First, I just want to say, Shane, your videos have given me, like, back when I was applying to colleges in high school, they gave me, like, a lot of, like, existential crises because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I don't know, I think it's just really interesting to, like, be talking to you. And I think it's, like, kind of funny.
Awesome, man. Okay. My videos gave you existential crises. All right.
But yeah, so pretty much what I was thinking of was like, I have a couple career options, and I was thinking like, you know, political science, you know, I have like a really big like interest in like history, or like communications. I feel like it would give me a lot of like flexibility. So like, what do you think?
Gotcha. Okay, so what is your question exactly? Sorry.
What do you think about like going into like communications? Like, what do you think? Because I think a lot of people would say like, oh, it's a general major, but I would say that's a good thing because it doesn't limit me to like one specific thing.
Yeah, so communications, I definitely don't think that's typically going to be a good major. So the first question you want to ask yourself is, what exactly are you trying to go into? Like, what is your goal? Like, what kind of careers are you trying to get into?
I would say marketing, something like that.
Okay. Got it.
I would just say I like working with people. I think I would think, I don't know, I think I like to be creative, and I think it could be very sustainable, like marketing.
Absolutely. Okay.
Or public relations.
Got it. So you've determined that you're kind of like a creative type person. So that's a really good start. And yeah, there are some pretty good careers that are good for creatives. Another great option for creatives is freelancing, starting your own business. Typically, you're probably not gonna do that right off the bat, right? Because that is a little next level compared to just getting a career. So you probably do want to start off just like getting a job. But there are a lot of great options for creatives down the line. And you said you like marketing specifically. So one thing I always tell people is you want to have a plan, even if you think you're going to change the plan down the line. This is extremely important that you always have a plan, right? So you sort of take an inventory of your current situation. So you want to think about, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What sort of things did you just kind of get good at because you did them a lot while you were growing up for whatever reason? What do you like? You know, that's a really important one as well. And if you don't know what you like, you kind of just want to like try a bunch of different stuff out and think back on your past. Like, what were the times where you were doing something and you just really enjoyed it? And it wasn't just like enjoying it for like a few moments. You enjoyed it for a sustainable period of time. Like, it brought you joy. And you want to take an inventory of all those sorts of things. And then once you've figured out that inventory, you have your current situation. Then you want to think about what is your desired situation. So your desired situation is typically, in this particular case, it's going to be a career, like a specific career that you want to land. And the first step, generally, once you've determined that, is to contact people in that career and ask them what they recommend. Now, a lot of people skip that step because it requires you to like start a LinkedIn and you have to like actually reach out to people, but it's actually pretty easy to do. But in this particular case, if you're trying to get into digital marketing, for instance, you could potentially just skip that step because I sort of know like how to do that. And there's a lot of content out there on how to do that because it's such an in-demand career. So you would want to figure out the fastest, most efficient, and most affordable way to get from your current situation to your desired situation. And you need to determine, like, do you need college to get there? And in this particular case, if your goal is to land a job in digital marketing, you absolutely do not need college to get from point A to point B in the fastest, most efficient way possible. And so, you know, what I would personally recommend is check out Seth's course. I've talked about Seth's course on the channel quite a bit. He's literally gotten thousands and thousands of people jobs in digital marketing. So that would be a great place to start if digital marketing is the route that you want to go. But it's very important that you figure out your current situation, your desired situation, and then see if you actually need to go to college in the first place to get to that desired situation. And if you do need to go to college, okay, what degree do you need to get, right, in order to get from point A to point B? And so many people just skip that step. They go to college because that's what everybody else does, and that's what people say you should do, and that's what high school counselors say you should do, and all that sort of thing. And it's really just a big trap for a lot of people, because even if, you know, college is worth it for some of the majors, people end up going to college and they just never use that knowledge that they learned in college. It's just totally useless for them for the rest of their life. And I mean, I've talked to so many people who have graduated college and they've told me that, and they're like, the only thing that college really gave me was the people I met in college. Like, I'm probably going to be friends with them for a while. Like, that's pretty much, like, you hear that over and over again. Like, oh, I went to college and the thing that I really got from it was the people I met, I'm friends with them for life, and everything else, it like didn't really matter. So that's kind of my answer in short.
I feel like the purpose of college, like, I feel like the value of the, like, college is not, like, what you learn, is mainly the degree you get out of it. And I feel like the purpose of the degree is not to, like, obviously I know, like, if I get a degree, I'm not instantly going to get, like, a job and I'm going to be successful. Like, that doesn't, I know that, but I feel like it's the doors that it kind of opens for you. Like, and I feel like it can put you in positions that you couldn't get into otherwise, if that makes sense. Like, my mother, she told me that she went to get her what's the name of I forget the name of the degree where it's like 2 years at a community college. It's like associates. And she said that when she got into her career, she couldn't really, like, move up because she didn't really have, like, a bachelor's or, like, a master's or something. And she said that she regretted it because she felt like she had a lot of potential because she was in banking. So I understand that college is not necessarily the only thing that is important. Like maybe I will forget everything, but I feel like having that degree is valuable. Like, I feel like some people, they go to college, they think, what am I doing here? Like, I could become successful on my own. Like, they have that entrepreneurial, like, nature in them. I don't really have that. Maybe I'd want to start my own business down the line. I feel like I would want to get into, like, real estate or something like that. Like, I feel like I would want to get into that later on. But for right now, I kind of just want to, like, focus on, like, a major or something. Or at least, like, just find something that I can major in that would, pertain to my interest. So what do you think about that? That, like, college, it's mainly to open doors for you and not to just, like, get you into success.
Yeah, I'll let Troy take that one. Go ahead, Troy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that has to be the worst idea I've ever heard. I mean, college is not going to open up any doors concerning digital marketing. I mean, it's probably going to open up doors maybe in banking, like if you're going to get a bachelor's degree. But as far as digital marketing is concerned, I mean, no doors are opened up because of a bachelor's degree, especially a communications major. I mean, how many communications majors are there in this world, right? And I mean, how many are working in marketing? I think I read a statistic, it was like 1 in 5,000 people who get a marketing degree actually get a job in marketing. Is absolutely terrible. Going through something like Seth's course is like going to set you apart from everyone else who gets a marketing degree. Like, you do not want to associate with marketing degrees or communication majors. You want to get the hell away from them if you want to have doors unlocked and opportunities. You want to acquire the skills and put those skills on your resume and get the real world work experience. That's what companies want. And that work experience is going to open up way more doors than any college degree. And the network you build by getting that work experience with people actually working in the industry, with executives at the company, with your managers, with your other coworkers, that's way more valuable than any frat bros you're going to meet in a college campus. So that's what I would recommend.
Well, the thing is, I feel like if you go to the right college, they'll help you build that network that you need. Like, I go to a pretty good university, and I already have some internships like set up for digital marketing to see like if I want it. Like, I feel like if you go to college, the way it opens doors for you, like I have a college with a good reputation, so they have connections. It's a Big Ten school, so they have like a lot of connections for me to like talk to like people, and they set me up with like the alumni network and things like that. And I'm gonna be doing a digital marketing internship soon. But yeah, I can definitely see like where you're talking about with like the work experience is the real thing. That's why I'm trying to like build a network so once I get out, I can like just get a good job, because they teach me in college that 60% of actually getting a job or like getting an interview is just the connection. Like, you can have a bachelor's degree and be beaten by someone who like knows someone in the company. So I feel like I have that knowledge going into the company or going into college. So I just don't know like what to do, I guess. Like, I just feel like I should focus on building a network, but in what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, your network comes from work experience. Like, I mean, by age 19 years old, I knew people who are very successful who could offer me employment across many different companies. And if you compare that to most 19-year-olds at a college campus, who do they know? They know some people who are also in college. Now, if you're 19 years old working in the professional work experience in sales, you know a lot of other people working at other companies, or lots of executives that you sold to who probably want to hire you. So it's just like professional work experience. That network is so much more valuable. And now, as a 24-year-old entrepreneur, I know people worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, how do you meet people that like have net worths like that, or venture capitalists and other entrepreneurs, executives of companies? So I mean, there's like work experience. There's really no substitute for it. And then let's just assume your time is worthless, right? Let's assume there is no opportunity cost. You don't care about your time. How much are you currently paying for college right now?
I'm paying. Well, the thing is, I'm in state and I have a lot of like financial aid, so I'm not paying that much. But my actual term bill is like $4,000 right now.
Okay, that's pretty good. So at least you're making a pretty good decision there about staying in state and being financially responsible. So when you graduate college, are you going to be in debt?
Yeah.
How much debt are you thinking?
Crazy amounts of debt, like if you were to go out of state, like probably at most like 50,000, which is a lot, but
I mean, hell, you don't want to be $50,000 in debt at 22 years old trying to get a marketing job. I mean, yeah, that's not a good scenario. What do you think, Shane?
Yeah, man. So how old are you right now, William, if you don't mind me asking? 19. Okay, got it. So you're not too far into this to the point where where you can't go back, basically. Like that's good to know. So here's the thing, William, like let's take like the tale of two marketers, all right? It's like the tale of two cities, but the tale of two marketers. One of them gets a digital marketing job when they're 18, which I've interviewed people on my channel. I even interviewed a 16-year-old who got a digital marketing job, right? So one person gets a digital marketing job at 18. The other person goes to school for 5.1 years on average. That's the average time it takes to get a bachelor's degree in the United States. And after 5 years, the guy who started off at 18 in digital marketing is now making 6 figures, right? They're making like $120,000, $130,000 a year. Their friend who decided to go to school to get a marketing degree is $50,000 in debt or even more. I mean, you're being relatively financially responsible. For a lot of people, it's a lot worse than that. I mean, you see 100,000, you see a lot more than that in debt these days, right? So, you know, look at the difference. Like one person, the person who decided to get that digital marketing job at 18, let's say it took them an entire year, right? Like they got it at 19, right? By the time you're 22 or 23, you graduate, this person is making 6 figures a year. They've saved up a couple $100,000. They're cruising, they're chilling. They've already have like a way better network than you could ever imagine having just going to college. They know a ton of people in the industry. They've already networked with a bunch of other digital marketers. So if they lose their job, they can very easily get another job. And then you are graduating, you're gonna try to get a job. You have $50,000 in debt. Companies know this. This is kind of a dark truth, but companies know this, and companies use that against you sometimes as leverage. Like if they know that you have $50,000 in debt, they can use that against you as leverage. They know that if they fire you, you're kind of going to be screwed, right? Whereas if you start off at 18 and you don't have any debt and you're just like home free and you're just making money, companies are going to know that you're in a much better financial position, right? So it's just a totally, completely different scenarios there. You know, by the time you graduate, this person's making $100,000. They're just absolutely killing it at life, right? So those are two different scenarios you can see. And when it comes to a career like digital marketing, you absolutely do not need to get a degree. It's just that simple. Colleges, here's what's going to happen. If you decide to go through with this, let's say you switch to like a marketing degree or you take a bunch of marketing classes. When you graduate, you're going to realize that you don't know anything about digital marketing. When you start working in the real world, you are going to realize that you know absolutely nothing about digital marketing from what the college taught you, okay? And the reason for that is because colleges don't teach in-demand, up-to-date skills. They're teaching stuff that worked like 5-10 years ago, and it does not work right now in digital marketing. The Facebook ads that worked 5 years ago don't work anymore, right? You have to use Facebook in a completely different way. And most colleges don't even teach that sort of thing. Like they don't even teach the technical ability of like setting up a real ad campaign. So yeah, this just, I mean, suffice it to say, like, it's much better for these types of skills where it advances all the time. It changes. You know, if you're play video games, for instance, like the meta changes. That's something people always say in video games. Well, it's the same thing with these types of skills. Digital marketing, the meta changes. And the only way for you to stay up to date on this stuff is for you to be working, for you to be in the trenches, learning those valuable skills. And the best way to do that is to, you know, build your portfolio as quickly as you can and get that first entry-level job as fast as possible.
I just feel like I'm not really going to go down the marketing route. I just feel like it's just I'm in a business school right now, and I feel like there's way too much math, and I really don't enjoy it, and it's just not where my strengths lie. So I'm probably going to. So the good thing is, I'm a freshman right now, and it's my first semester. So I kind of realized I really don't like it. Like I just feel like to get that degree, it's just too much math, and I feel like my strengths lie more in like my verbal ability and like my writing ability. So I feel like that's why I'm kind of going into communications, because I don't want to be limited. You know, if I'm going to get a degree, I feel like it's versatile at the very least.
Yeah, but people graduate with communication majors and then pray they can get a job in tech sales, and they just simply get out-competed by CourseCareer students every day. Same thing happens with digital marketing and Seth's course. I mean, they pray they could get a job in digital marketing, but they can't, because you can't do anything with a communications major. I mean, it's way too broad. It's maybe slightly more valuable than a high school diploma, which doesn't mean much.
Okay, so let me ask you something. So originally, I was gonna be a chef, right? Like I really like culinary arts. I got accepted to Johnson and Wales, but I was like, like why do I need to go to culinary school? Like I went to a vocational school when I was in high school and I got my certificate for culinary arts, and I got a job at this restaurant and I was a cook and I was like making really good money, and I just I was talking about it with my mom and she was like, you're really gonna do that? Like in culinary arts, like it's a very tough business because you don't get a lot of time to yourself to like kind of enjoy life. Like you don't have a lot of free time. You have to work on the weekends. It's just not a good thing to like. I just didn't think it was worth it for me. So I'm like in state. So I was like, let me just go to Rutgers, see if I like it and like decide from there. So I obviously kind of like eliminated being a chef off of my like things that I wanted to do. So then there was like psychology, political science, things like that. And psychology, I feel like it's just way too much school. Like I don't want to go for like a PhD to practice it. So I think something else for me to do would be like political science because I just really like history. I'm just really good at like speaking and things like that. So like, what do you think about political science? Like international relations and things like that.
I wanted to say something about the last thing you said really quickly, because you were talking about how there's too much math in the marketing classes you were taking. And yeah, that's one of the big problems with colleges is they make you learn a bunch of stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with the subject or the job that you're trying to get into. They make you learn all this stuff. And there's tons of jobs in digital marketing where you basically don't need to have any math skills. I mean, obviously addition, subtraction, like the basics of the basics you need to have. But I mean, if you know how to use a calculator, you're good, right? There's tons of jobs in digital marketing like that where you don't need to have any math skills, any advanced math skills whatsoever. So that's yet another reason why you should literally just do everything you can to just get a job in digital marketing, because you're going to be learning the skills that are actually valuable, that companies actually want you to have when you get that first entry-level job. You're not going to have to learn all this math-related stuff, all this mumbo-jumbo, philosophical, eclectic, just BS.
What the hell?
You don't have to learn all that sort of thing. You can literally just get employed, get a job, and start learning marketable skills right away. And then to answer your other question about, you're kind of like taking these classes because you kind of enjoy them and stuff like that. Listen, man, you can take, if you want to know about political science, there are tons of unemployed political science, like doctorates, people who have like doctorates, people who have master's degrees, or maybe they're not unemployed, but they like work at Starbucks or something like that, where you can literally hire them to like one-on-one as a tutor to tutor you about political science, right? You do not need to go to college and get a college degree in political science to learn about political science. There's plenty of free classes online, for instance. Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford, all of these different, MIT as well. There's all these different kinds of open courseware where they will actually share their lectures, and you can even see the book that they're using. And in some cases, you can even take the same tests that they had taken. And it's all available for free online. I talk about this in some of my videos. So if you're really interested in political science or history is my favorite subject, for instance, you can take those classes for free. The only difference is at the end of the day, you don't get the piece of paper that says you have a bachelor's degree. And in your case, you don't need that piece of paper. That piece of paper is not going to help you land the job that you're thinking about getting, which is digital marketing. So again, I think you can kind of see here a pattern where it's like you don't need to do all these things in order to land the job. So you can do all those things for much cheaper. You're not going to be $50,000 in debt. It's not going to take you nearly as much time, and you can do all those things that you want for a much cheaper and easier price.
Okay, I just want to make something clear. Like, I know we're talking about digital marketing, and it's something I would definitely consider, but I just wanted to make it clear that, like, it's not something that I really am thinking about. I think I'm interested in it because it has good job prospects, it pays well. And what I really enjoy doing, I feel like it's just like playing video games and like just relaxing, but I don't think there's a college major that's going to allow me to do that and get paid decently. So I don't know. Maybe I would want to get into like streaming or like podcasting or something. I don't know. Something like this. I feel like that
Absolutely.
would be cool.
So let me comment on that. This is very common with Americans, and Americans tend to be very entrepreneurial. A lot of us are starting these like side hustles, freelancing businesses, and that sort of thing, and that's great. That's an awesome thing. And the thing is you got to start somewhere. Almost nobody starts off like right away and becomes a CEO without any work experience. Like almost everybody gets a job, gets a little bit of work experience, and then they start their own business. And in terms of like your chances of success, you have a much better chance of success if you have a little bit of money to start your business, right? So for instance, I started my business while I was working, and I started it in my free time on the side. I know Troy saved up some money, and then he was able to start his business with that money that he saved up. So you're going to need some sort of capital, and typically speaking, it's also a good idea to have like an in-demand skill that's going to help you with your business, right? So if you learned skills related to digital marketing, that is going to help you significantly when it comes to starting a business. Which, make no mistake, streaming is a business, right? There's streamers that make like, I think there's that one guy who makes like $100 million a year, like Trainwreck TV or whatever. Probably don't do what he does, but it's a business, right? And you have to treat it like a business to be successful. And my best recommendation to people who are kind of in that situation where they don't really want to do a normal job and they want to become a YouTuber, start a business, become a streamer, something like that. Typically, my best recommendation is learn an in-demand skill where you can get a job that's super chill, right? Get a job that's super chill, and then you can start your business on the side, right? So you're gonna have plenty of free time. There's lots of jobs out there, especially in tech, digital marketing, etc., where you really only have to work a few hours a day, and then you can start your business on the side, right? So that's actually very common. And again, these are the types of jobs you can find when you learn an in-demand skill. If you learn a skill that's not in demand, they're going to hire you, and you're going to be working all the time. Because the company's not going to be making money, they're going to try to get as much productivity out of you as they possibly can. So this is the secret, right? Like, it all boils down to one sentence, which is learn an in-demand skill. If you learn an in-demand skill, basically everything else just falls into place. It makes every other aspect of your life easier.
So what would you say is the most in-demand skill that you can learn?
Well, I talk about quite a few of them on my channel. Digital marketing is great. Tech sales is amazing. IT help desk is awesome. Cybersecurity is great. Data analytics, software development. There's a bunch of other ones. UX, UI design, quality assurance analyst. Those are some of the biggest ones off the top of my head. And those are the ones that are really in demand, where you don't need to get like a college degree. There are some college degrees where you get into a skill that's high in demand. Like some of the medical ones are pretty good, for instance. But yeah, those are the ones where like the barrier to entry is really low, and it's just extremely easy to get into them. Instructional design is another good one for artists, people who are kind of artistic. So the three that like people who are artistic kind of like is digital marketing, UX, UI design, and instructional design. So I would definitely check those three out.
So let me ask you something. What is your recommendation for me? I'm in college right now. So what, are you telling me to like drop out or something? Like, if I do stay in college, like how do I find the major for me that will like maximize like my return on investment?
Yeah, I don't give financial advice on this video, so no, I am not telling you to drop out. Like, that's a decision that you have to make, right? You're a grown-up, you have to make your own decisions. I'm just giving you the facts, and based on those facts, you can make the best decision for your particular situation. I would have to do like a full consultation session before I'd even be close to comfortable telling you to make a full life decision like that. So you have to come to that decision on your own. But with that being said, my channel is all about talking about which majors actually have a good return on investment. So you can just like watch my channel to see. I use like the same websites, the same stats for a lot of them. It's not too hard to find those. Payscale is really good for looking up degree stuff. BLS is really good for looking up career stuff. Glassdoor tends to be pretty good for looking up career stuff. So it's pretty easy to do that research online to see which college degrees are actually worth it and which ones are not worth it.
What would you say about like graduate school?
Almost never worth it.
Like
almost never worth it. So like again, there's specific examples of like health degrees, for instance, where if you're becoming a doctor, if you're becoming like physician assistant or physician associate, nurse practitioner, that sort of thing, yeah, graduate level degrees can be great. But for, I would say 99% of people, graduate level degrees are not the way to go.
Because my management skills professor said something really interesting. He said people on average are statistically happier who go to graduate school, and they have like easier job opportunities, and they like make more money, like on average. And I think I've been told that there are statistics out there where it's like people with college degrees like on average make more money.
Yeah, so first of all, I would love to actually see that study from your college professor. So if you can send me that study, I'd love to see it. And then second of all, yes, people who have college degrees also happen to make more money. This is a classic case of it being, correlation and not causation. Smart people tend to go to college, right? Because that's what society says they're supposed to do. And smart people also tend to make more money. So it has nothing to do necessarily with getting a college degree. It's just that this is a very clear case of correlation and not causation. Smart people tend to go to college. Smart people tend to make more money. That's all there is to it.
Okay, that's interesting. I feel like the biggest thing that's stopping me is really like my anxiety of like taking a risk. You know what I'm saying? I feel like what you're saying is really good. I feel like in America, like we push college so much, and it's just become like this big bloated like business for like where we have to like be in so much debt. And I feel like it's good to be very skeptical about it.
100%. Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like it's hard to kind of like go out on your own and like make your own decisions and kind of like make your own business and things like that. Maybe I'm making it a little bit harder, but I just feel like it can be hard to like make those right business decisions. Like I just want to make the right choices.
Absolutely. Well,
yeah, I can jump in.
Yeah, go
real
ahead,
quick.
Troy.
Yeah, I could say, really, you don't have to make any like life-changing decisions like dropping out of college tomorrow, but you can make a decision today to say, hey, I'm going to learn more about a career in digital marketing. I'm going to go through an online course. I'm going to get an internship. I want to get a part-time job. There's a lot of things you can be doing right now without taking huge risks. That's going to allow you to make better educated decisions and then ultimately find the right career for you to pursue. And with you being young and having all this student loan debt that you're about to go into, being able to quickly figure out the right career right now is really important. So the sooner you figure out the career that you're going to pursue and can work backwards from that, the less debt you're going to be into, the more ahead you're going to get in life. So, start doing that sooner than later, and there's really no excuse to not be pursuing learning about all these different career options and testing them out.
Yeah, and that's like a great situation to be in. Like, let's say you do, get yourself a digital marketing job and you're still in college. You have a choice. You've got like a part-time job or maybe a full-time job, and if you want to, you can finish your degree out if you'd like. If that's really what you want to do, if a degree is really important for you, you can do that. There's really great schools like WGU, for instance, where you can be working a full-time job, super busy, you've got a family, and you can complete a legitimate degree from a top 10% regionally accredited university that's respected in the technology industry like WGU while you are working a full-time job. So if the degree is really important for you, if it's almost like an emotional thing, like you want to get a degree to make your family proud or something like that, there are great options out there. But just know at the end of the day, what really matters is your work experience, right? The skills you have, the work experience, and then the network you get from that work experience. That's what really matters at the end of the day.
Did you go to college?
I did. So I started my career at 18 years old, and now I'm 24 years old and the founder of CourseCareers. And most of the people that go through CourseCareers that we see a lot of success with, they don't have to go to college, and many didn't. So it's really up to you. It's like, if you want to go to college, it's probably not going to be for a financial ROI. It's just going to be for your personal motivations. So make sure that you come to that realization that financially, it's probably not a good decision.
Yeah, I would have gone to community college if it was up to me, but there's a lot of like outside influences that like, or a lot of other factors that kind of stopped me from like I wanted to get out of my house, I wanted to dorm. I just had a lot of like personal stuff going on, but yeah, I don't want to get too personal, but I just feel like I'm happy where I am right now. Like, I don't think I made a wrong decision going to college. I don't know if in the future, maybe I just feel like I need to learn skills like outside of like this, what society kind of pushes on you. Like, I want to, break out of the status quo, I guess. So, thank you for encouraging me to like learn about those opportunities.
Awesome, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, William.
Yeah,
have a good one,
thank
man.
you guys.
Thanks,
All right, have a nice day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
That was awesome. That was a great convo.
Yeah. Really
Yeah.
good call.
Well,
So you want to call
yeah,
it quits
I
now?
think we're about 3 hours in. I think we're probably going to call it quits. So everybody who messaged me on Skype, I'll try to get back to you real quick. But yeah, maybe next time we'll do a live, and we'll get the people that messaged me. I'll let you guys know when we're going to do a live next time. And I might answer like some questions and stuff you have on Skype. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Check out CourseCareers. Troy is the CEO of CourseCareers. He was nice enough to come on today and, give his time answering questions. And yeah, thanks, everybody. Have a good one. Take care.
Yeah, thanks. Have a nice one.